Let's go back to soup.
Soup tube?
No, just talking.
Hold on.
Wait, we didn't talk about.
Welcome to SneetCast episode 6. We couldn't figure out how to intro it, so I'm
gonna talk about
introing it.
soup.
We weren't talking about soup.
No one wants to hear about soup.
I'm talking about soup tubes.
Yeah.
There's a distinct difference.
Feed yourself through soup tube.
Yeah. Through
Yeah.
like apartment buildings and whatnot.
What if you
Have-
filled like
Yeah.
a colostomy bag with soup that you had like on your side?
Would be a
And you,
colostomy
like,
bag then.
fed
Yeah,
a
no-
tube up into your mouth.
Then it would just be a bag. It would be a colostomy
Yeah, that's
bag.
But
just
you
like-
use it was made to be a colostomy bag, and then you rewired it into.
Do you
being
understand?
your
Do
soup
you know what a
pouch.
colostomy bag is?
I know what a colostomy bag is. I'm saying
Then
you
it doesn't.
repurpose it.
Oh, thank God I
can't
pressed
repurpose
record.
that.
I'm so
Shitting
happy
right in my
that this
soup
is
bag.
what
Yeah,
it
like-
is.
The colostomy bag has an out that it's not an out. It's an in that comes from your inside your body.
Yeah, I know.
So what are you gonna do?
Listen,
Just
there's
like
a-
squeeze the soup
Chef,
straight into your
there's a-
colon?
Chef, there's a drum set over there. If I cut the top off and use it like a bowl, is it not a drum anymore?
What?
If I rework
No,
the
it's a
colostomy
bowl.
bag into being a soup drink bag, it's still a colostomy
I think the
bag.
problem is more so that at that point, why even
Call
have
it
a colostomy bag?
It's just
Yeah,
a piece of
it's
plastic
just a
at that
bag
point.
at that point.
I don't know, because
Use
it'd
one of those
be
like
harder to pop, probably.
those, like water backpacks that like cyclists use.
Or like the like soda can hats.
Oh, the
But just
Schmetty
with
Werman Man Jensen.
soup in 'em, yeah.
Man, if somebody heard that and didn't know anything about SpongeBob, I would sound like a fucking insane
Yeah.
person.
Yeah.
I have 2 friends in college that have never seen SpongeBob because they just didn't grow up with cable.
wouldn't
so
be-
they just didn't grow up with Nickelodeon.
like,
If
really
somebody
sad.
was like, "I've never seen SpongeBob," I'd be like, "I'm afraid to like be near you. You're probably a sociopath, dude." SpongeBob? You've never seen SpongeBob?
What if they're, like,
you're probably
80s?
gonna murder me in my sleep. What?
What if they're like 80?
So SpongeBob was big enough.
I give my grandma the side eyes all the time. I'm like, bitch, don't even know who Patrick is.
Yo, I have a distinct memory of going to the orthodontist as a teenager and the orthodontist and like the assistant, I don't know, they're not nurses, I don't know what to call
Is
them.
it dental assistant?
I guess so.
Yeah.
Him and her were like arguing over whether SpongeBob was gay or not as they were like changing the bands on my braces, and I was like, what is happening?
Well, he is now, isn't he? The Nickelodeon
No, he's
program
ace.
is.
Asexual.
Oh, okay.
But
I
that
thought
was,
he-
like,
I thought that wrong.
Counts apparently.
Well, you know,
Well,
yeah.
it's like
Well, yeah, that's
LGBT.
it's,
I mean, it's not on the.
That's what the plus is for in LGBT.
yeah,
well, because
plus.
LGBT, it's not just that. It's like longer than that. It's like LGBTQA. Like it's
I
like,
know, but thank God there's a plus there, so we don't have to say every letter.
It's really long.
Because it's
But
4 letters. That's the maximum. Because at that point, then I don't even want to say it.
fun fact: this isn't that wasn't even Nickelodeon just being like, oh, he's asexual out of nowhere. Like years ago, before the creator died, somebody asked him about it, and he was like, he is asexual. Like the creator just said it, and I was like, oh, that's cool.
I mean, sponges are asexual,
Yeah.
and he is like what, a marine biologist in real life, like before writing the show.
Yeah, and dying
Yeah, so he probably what?
before writing the show and before dying.
The 2 things he's done in his life.
After
no
being
shit
a marine
before
biologist.
he died.
I
Why
know,
do you
I
add
know.
that?
Because
My
it made Chef laugh.
postmortem
It made
marine
everyone else
biology
laugh.
degree.
I want to be known for dying.
Die in a really
Chef's
cool way.
gravestone is gonna say "Rest in peace, Chef."
Remember?
He died.
Remember that important video with the kid with the little like airsoft gun? He's like, "This is what dying feels like," and he shoots
Yeah,
the
he
camera.
It's a 3DS, I'm pretty sure.
You broke it.
Yeah.
I think it's like a 3DS camera or something, or maybe I made that part up, but it felt like.
I
a
have
3DS
no
camera.
idea what camera it was. As far as I know,
I don't
it would
remember.
be way funnier to me if it was an actual camera that their parents let them use to have fun outside with, and they literally broke it, and he was crying because he thought he was gonna get in trouble with his parents. That's my narrative in my head.
That's what I was.
I
assuming.
am Shiniman.
I
Here I
rewatched
come,
that.
I am
I
Cinnamon.
rewatched that playlist recently just because I was feeling
It's fun.
nostalgic.
Everybody
from
go on
3 years
YouTube
ago.
and just search for a playlist called Important Videos.
I'm
You
pretty
won't
sure like
regret it.
most people that would listen to this podcast know about important videos.
That was like a day me and you had where I was like, Brian, sit down, because I like, had it up on my laptop in our.
I remember I went
apartment.
up to you and I was like, "Yo, do you want to get food?" And he's like, "Yeah, but hold on."
yeah, because we were like going to get. I was like, no, hold on, look at this shit.
Well, I think what happened was I went to ask you, but I saw what you were watching, so I just decided like not to ask you right away. And then I was like, okay, so I was gonna ask you to get food. Let's just sit down and watch this for like another hour, and then go.
I remember getting home
because we had to
that
get
day.
there before 8, so let's just go there at like 7, and then we'll watch the rest when we get back.
Yeah.
I remember getting home that day because the three of us, not including Chef, used to live together, and just Brian and Ryan being like, "Dude, you gotta watch this playlist," and like our other friends being like, "Yo, we'll do this." Are we not doing intros this week? Or
I
should
was
we-
gonna say we should
Oh,
probably say
shit.
Welcome-
whose voice is whose.
We
Welcome
opened with
to-
soup and then didn't
No,
go
listen, I
anywhere.
said welcome to SneetCast episode 6, and then we all talked about fucking bags and soup.
Welcome to
So-
Soupcast,
Soupcast.
Colostomy Bag
yes.
Special.
All right, so I'm Brian.
I'm Ryan.
I'm Chef.
I'm Parker.
There you have it. Okay.
And there we go.
Do we want to go to our first topic, or do we want to keep talking about important videos?
Let's
Not
move
much
on.
to say, really.
Here, why don't we start with Chef this week? What did you want to bring up this week?
Well,
What have you been up to,
three
my
of
dear
us,
friend?
Three of us minus Brian watched a Jim Henson short film
Oh yeah, we watched
Yeah.
Timepiece.
called
Brian,
Timepiece,
That's
which
fucking cool.
watch Timepiece.
yeah, I was
What-
gonna.
Where was I? Did you literally watch it
Pizza,
like
maybe?
10 minutes
Work,
ago?
probably.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's 8 minutes long, so and it's on
I was
YouTube.
gonna tell you to watch it today, and then I forgot.
We can watch it after the podcast if you want.
All right.
Yeah.
Is that the one where he's in like a top hat and he's like running?
Yes.
Yeah,
So I know of it.
the one where he's painting an elephant.
Yeah. Wasn't that
Help.
like his college like thesis film or something like that?
No.
No, it was just a bunch of experimental films he did in like the 60s. As part of that.
Yeah.
He did go to university though, right? Like
Oh, I don't
I
remember.
believe so. But anyway, it was really good. And if you're listening to this, stop listening to this for 8 minutes and 51 seconds. Find Timepiece on YouTube, watch it, and come back.
If you watch Timepiece on YouTube, then come to our YouTube video for this podcast and comment, "Help!"
Help! I really liked it.
Oh,
Probably,
it's cool.
probably one of the things. I
Oh.
don't know how to speak this language anymore.
Brain stop.
English?
Yeah.
You are doing Asian studies. It would get harder.
What?
To balance 2 languages. Maybe it'll get easier actually.
Yeah,
Maybe
one
I'm just
language
making
versus
shit
the
up.
dude,
You think
I've
I'm just
been-
gonna,
I've been-
forget
I've
my
been-
first language.
I've been studying Japanese
As
for
you
3
learn the
years.
word for something in another language, you forget that word in your native tongue.
I
That's how
studied
it works.
I studied Japanese for 3 years and I speak pretty good, I think.
But Timepiece is probably my favorite thing that Jim Henson has done.
Really?
Yeah, I really liked it.
I like
I watched it the day after we watched it again.
So what, you watched it 3 times?
Yes.
Cuz you watched it once without us too. I
Yes.
like cuz the reason this started is because I on the app Letterboxd I saw you rated it and I texted you and I was like, "Yo, you watched Timepiece? I always wanted to watch that cuz I didn't know it was on YouTube."
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god. Muppet Movie is still my favorite thing he made. I
Nice.
also love Dark Crystal. Have you ever watched Labyrinth?
No.
We should watch
We should
Labyrinth.
Watch Labyrinth again. Yeah.
I love Labyrinth way more than Dark Crystal.
Yeah. Well,
So-
David Bowie.
Yeah, I mean it's not just David Bowie. I actually think it's like way more creative too. Cause like you remember the part where
would
she
not-
goes
I
down the
would-
pit and they have all the
No.
hands making the faces.
I would
and all
not
that?
use the word more creative. I think it is because The Dark Crystal is one of the most creative films I've ever seen in my life.
I mean that's
like-
my opinion. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's more fun for sure because The Dark Crystal is like, despite being very silly, no, not silly. Despite being very like crazy, is serious film for the most part. Whereas Labyrinth is like,
Yeah, it's pretty
Singing
like
and
dour
stuff.
a lot of the time.
yeah. Dark Crystal show is also really good.
It's pretty good. Yeah.
Hup.
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 What else have you been up to, Chef? What else did you want to talk about?
Well, this isn't exclusive to the last week, but like every summer, I sit down in my house and I go, man, I want to play Magic the Gathering again. And I whip out all my Magic the Gathering cards and I look at them
and put them away.
And I get sad because I don't have anyone to play with. But in past years, I would go to like a local game store and play Magic the Gathering with the people that are there.
Wait, is it the one that I used to work at?
I used to go there. I've been to after that one closed, I went to another one in place.
How far away?
Like 40 minutes away.
I think I know
it was
what
a
I'm talking about.
short hike. But
A short hike.
short hike.
40 minutes by foot.
A step and a hop, wander over yonder.
A short hike by car. And I was talking to Ryan about this, how I just wanted to talk about like a discussion topic. What like experiences do you guys have with like local game stores and local gaming scenes? Because personally, I've never had like a stellar experience. I've always had like, oh, it's the weirdos that are way more into something than me, and I don't want to interact with them forever.
I played Yu-Gi-Oh with a couple kids around town.
Oh,
That's about it. I've never done anything else in a game shop.
Well, I
that's-
probably have a lot.
Yeah,
I worked at
Yes.
one of the ones. Well, quote unquote worked. My first job when I was 13, before I could get a real job, or maybe 14. I was a freshman in high school. Was that local game store? Me and another friend went down and were like, "Can we work here?" And they were like, "We legally can't hire you because you're young, but if you like do some volunteer work for us, we'll give you store credit," which was pretty great because then we just I don't even know how much I was. I think I made $20 a day in store credit, which was like
Hoo-wee.
it was like a 4-hour shift, or not even. It'd be like 2 to 4 hours, and I make.
$5 an hour for a child who doesn't have any other.
And it's
income.
again, it
Child
was
labor.
like it was
Yeah.
not real money either. I would leave with like video games, and
Yeah.
it's fine with me. That's what I was gonna spend my money on anyway. I was fucking 14, but
oh my god, yeah.
yeah.
20 bucks a day when you're that age for video games exclusively.
Yeah, there was some weird people there, but not. I remember it not being too bad. At most, I remember because like I would be a lot of times with the people who ran the place, right? And so a lot of times when like a kind of awkward person would come in, they would think similarly to I would, and they would be nice to them, and they would try to help them. And then if they were there for too long, they'd be like, okay, you know.
Yeah.
But then like I was around when they were running like Magic tournaments and stuff. I never had any experience with it. The most experience I ever had with Magic, it was actually one day for 2 hours I organized Magic cards,
ooh.
and my neck hurt after that. But just looking down all the time, I wasn't like picking them up with my teeth or anything. But no, yeah, there was definitely some characters in that place. One time, one of me and the other friend were sitting there. One of the guys was working there, who was kind of odd, and he didn't really have any work for us to do. Like he wasn't the owner, and he was kind of like, I don't really feel like giving you guys any work to do. But he like he let us hang out and get paid, and then he was somebody. For some reason, there was a Blu-ray copy of Oliver and Company, the Disney movie there, and one of us made the comment that neither of us had seen it. He went, "What?" And he like put it on. And we got paid to watch like half of that movie that day.
Wow.
Hell yeah.
Ours is like, our town is pretty small to have like a nice scene for anything like this too.
Yeah, there's not a lot.
And I mean, like you said, like when this shop closed down, you went 40 minutes,
Yeah.
somewhere like that.
I mean, there is one here now, but it's the same
It's like-
people that would go to the other one.
Yeah.
And like, I'm Facebook friends with a couple of the people from the other store, and like, they post stuff that I do not
Posting
enjoy.
cringe?
They post cringe.
Pussy, you're posting cringe.
But what was I gonna say? The can't remember. Small brain. Oh, it's gone. All right, Brian, experience with the. I was gonna. That's what I was gonna say. I think that is a big reason was why I never got into fighting games is because there was never like a thing for me to go to, and be like, cause yeah, a couple of our friends used to go to that shop for Smash stuff, and
They would go to the shop to smash.
yes, to smash each other and whoever else was there
Scandalous.
and willing. But Brian, what about you?
What was the question even? Like, what am I? What am I answering? We're talking about game stores, but what are you actually?
Do you have any like experiences with like local gaming scenes?
Well, no, I just because that store we're talking about, I didn't work there, but even though I hung out with you guys, I literally just would walk in every now and then, buy something, and leave. I'm shy. I don't want to talk to anyone, so I don't have any experience with any game stores like that.
I just find it
Every
interesting.
now and then, I'll like maybe drive somewhere like farther away from here to go to like a really nice shop, and like sometimes there will be an arcade there, and sometimes like because I would get excited about a game like Street Fighter Third Strike and the arcade cabinets there, like the owner will be like, oh, I'll let you play a few free rounds because he's also a fan. I'm like, oh, that's cool. So there's experiences like that. We went to I think the store is called Digital Press in New Jersey, which is like they would do like Angry Video Game Nerd meetups a bunch at that store, and it's a big store, and I like that store.
Isn't that where they filmed the crossover? Angry
Dude,
Video
that
Game
is
Nerd versus Nostalgia Critic.
That is ancient internet shit you're bringing up. That's so ancient that there's a character that was part of that crossover called Captain S.
That no one
is
remembers.
just not doing anything on YouTube anymore. But yeah, I just went in, went out. I don't talk to anyone at any of those places.
I would like to, but also like, again, like you said, it's kind of impenetrable. Where I'm like, I'm not as into this thing, and I could become more into it, but I feel like it kind of like I get deterred from it because I'm like, I'm not as good as. Yeah, it's why I can't get into fighting games and why I never got into card games is because I'm also just not a very competitive person. Well, either that or I'm very competitive and a sore loser. I can't decide.
I would love for us to have a really good arcade. Like a drive away, sure, but like somewhere near us a really good arcade. And one of those modern day arcades where they just give you like their wristband and you just pay for how long you're there, so you can just press play on any arcade game and just keep playing. You don't have to worry about like quarters. I've been to one of those in New Jersey, and it was also BYOB, but I was underage, so I couldn't do
Like a
anything
Dave
with
and
that.
Buster's kind of thing.
That's what I was thinking, David.
Well, no, because there wasn't. Dave and Buster's is also like a restaurant, though, right?
Yeah, it's like a bar
yeah,
grill.
but there is
the
no
arcade part works where you.
There
just
is
have, like, the
no
thing.
like. You can't buy any snacks or anything like that. It's just that they
I don't
they
think
have a
people go there for
lounge.
the
They have a
food.
lounge area, and they say like, oh, by the way, we're okay if you bring alcohol. Like we don't have a problem with that. So if you want to come by, lounge around, play video games, and what you want to bring a 6-pack of beer for your friends, you're allowed to do that. That's how it works.
Another thing, like Dave and Buster's uses like the card system with credit, so it's basically just Chuck E. Cheese coins, but in the new technological age.
Yeah, the what I'm talking about wasn't like that. They literally had a wristband that they put on you, and it was stamped with the time that you bought it, and then you can stay there as long as you want. Then when you're like done and you want to go home, you just go back to the register. They look at the time and they just add up the amount of time you were there, and you have to pay a fee.
I wish we had arcades like Japan has arcades, because I was in one of those. Well, I was in multiple, but I think they're all the same chain. Like I think they're all Sega arcades. They were just like a couple blocks away or whatever.
Yeah.
And
Did you see that the big one closed down?
which
Yeah.
one? In,
Like, whichever big.
The big
Sega
Sega one that
in
is
like
like
Akihabara.
I
yeah,
think so. Yeah.
Oh my god! Wow.
Yeah.
Why? Just because of
COVID, I
pandemic?
think.
COVID, I imagine, and people just not. You know.
Wow, that fucking sucks.
I
Yeah.
think it was mostly a COVID problem, to be honest.
I mean, same thing
I
happened with
imagine.
One Piece Tokyo Tower.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that stuff was cool, and I don't know. if I had it near me, maybe I would be a part of some kind of scene. But otherwise,
I love fighting games, but that's just because I love watching streams and I love playing them. But I never like went to a game store and take part in a tournament or whatever. But that's
Yeah,
why I
I-
want an arcade, because I don't care about tournaments, but it would be cool to do the thing where like you watch people play and then just go up to them and be like, "Hey, can I play winner?" That's how it used to work. How it used to work is people literally just put a quarter down on the cabinet to let people know that they want next.
Yeah.
That was fighting game etiquette back then. But there's barely any arcades now that no one knows what the hell you're supposed to do.
The closest I ever got to like competing IRL in like a fighting game thing was when our other friend was big into a local scene and he wanted me to come to a tournament. Because I was big into Dragon Ball Fighters for a while and just
Yeah.
like, even then I was just like, I can play online. I don't.
Whenever we go to conventions and there's arcade cabinets there, I get really happy. Because they also like import machines that are like Japan only, so you can't read them at all. But they're still like really cool machines
yeah.
that like
Yeah.
we usually won't be able to play.
when I was in that one in Japan, the machines that I played, like, I think the coolest one I played was Taiko no Tatsujin, the big taiko drum game. And like the rhythm game, and you know, I've played, like, I have it on the Switch and it's fun, but actually sitting there with the life-size taiko drum and the song selection is like there's just like an anime section and I go, okay, Cruel Angel's Thesis, click it, and I'm drumming to is so fun. So funny. And they like update it too, like so they put new. It's not like they wait for the next version to come out before they put more songs out. They'll like update it with more songs, so like more anime will become popular, and they're like, yeah, we'll put this in there. Or like the Switch one got a DLC that's just all Undertale music.
Oh, huh.
The song salesman walks around to arcades, pulls out his briefcase, and holds up a chip that's like, it's got all the newest.
No, it's just
Anime
it's an
themes.
8-track tape that he puts in the back of the arcade machine. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about? Anything else you've been up to, Chef, or should we move on?
I might think of something to talk about later,
You had
but
that
that's
manga you
about
wanted to
that.
talk about, didn't you?
Well, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Way of the House Husband.
I really want to
Fucking
read this.
amazing.
Did you read all of it?
No, I'm like 10 chapters away from
Oh,
This is-
okay.
How
caught
many are
up.
out?
There's
It's-
50 some. It's like 51, 52, I think.
I this seems up my alley.
This is right up your alley. It's like 100% your alley.
It's all the way up.
You might as
my
well
alley.
own that alley. Yeah. It's like it's
so
so
far up my
fucking good.
alley, I can taste it.
Yeah. It's
Oh.
just this. I mean, if you want to go through, like, for the audience, go like, "Hey, this is what this thing is."
It's basically making fun of Yakuza and mob movie tropes, but with a character who is a house husband, so he's doing mundane house husbandy tasks, and he's doing them in a way that follows the tropes from those movies, but everyone around him is like, oh my god, this guy is going to kill me. He's so scary.
Did you get to the one where him and his wife go? They're like walking through the park or whatever, and they get to the like stage show with the actors doing like the superhero fight thing.
Yes, I did get to that. They were in a mall.
Yeah. And the wife's like, "Oh, we win a prize if you do the thing." And he's like, "All right, I got this." And then gets on stage, and instead of playing along with the superhero bit, he just was like, yells at them and convinces the hero and villain in the play to like make up. And everyone's like, "What's going on?
He
Is
has,
gonna hurt
like-
someone."
He has like Yakuza clan meeting between them, and they like
Yeah.
drink.
Yeah.
Oh, I
So
want to read that.
amazing.
The clips I've seen. I saw the page with him and another Yakuza like guy were like walking their dogs next, like crossing
Yes.
paths with each other, and they were like,
Like, it's a pretty cute dog. He's like, yeah. Ugh, and then just the bad Yakuza guy grabbing the Shiba's face, just like, whoa, face is so fucking pudgy, dude. Just like, it's so good.
oh, I want to read that. Is that it for you then, or did you want to?
We can move on.
All right, let's do Brian next.
Whoa, we're gonna do Brian.
Yeah.
We watched Harry Potter and the Deathly Weapons yesterday.
Yes, we did.
Oh,
So
That was like simultaneously like worse than I expected and better in some ways because
well, here's the
there's
thing.
a lot of time which
you
is no
should
edits.
you should only watch it if you're a Harry Potter fan because it's the whole movie.
Yeah.
So what happened is there are these gods among men that
Beautiful
just
men.
took
Or women,
Harry
we don't
Potter
actually
and the
know.
Sorcerer's Stone or Philosopher's Stone if you're in Europe. And what they did, the whole movie, the entire 2.5 hour movie, they replaced,
It's
depending on the edit, but for the most part, they replaced wands with guns. The whole movie. So the beginning part where Dumbledore is trying to take all the lights out into the little lighter that he has. Instead, they edit in a gun and he just shoots all the spotlights. And they edit the spotlights like the glass like
popping,
breaking
yeah.
and all that. And also Harry's like scar on his forehead is also like a Glock or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh my
It's
God.
just a pistol. Yeah.
Yeah, and like when they're doing Wingardium Leviosa, Hermione has like an SMG and she's literally making it float up by just shooting it.
And then it's like, well, it's not even just the wands that get edited to
No,
be
yeah.
guns. Like when Vernon is threatening Harry to on the way to the
Yeah, in the movie,
zoo,
it's just him
he's-
pointing at Harry, but in the
Yeah,
edit,
it's
he's
just
literally
him
like
putting it-
threatening him with a gun.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, listen, any funny business when we go out.
Also, just random farts inserted when Harry blinks and
yeah,
other characters
like the
blink.
first time it happened, you and me were just like, "What was
Yeah, what
that?
the fuck
was
was that?"
I think I even asked like, "Was that the movie or was that one of you guys?"
Yeah.
I was like, "What was that?" And then we noticed it kept happening where like someone would just wink, and then a fart noise happened during dialogue. And at first I was like, I think it's happening whenever there's like exposition, like when there's like a lot of plot crap being said, so they just like decide to like not bore the audience by making fart noises. But eventually by the end of the movie, I seriously think they just put it randomly every now and then just to like confuse us.
Yeah, yeah. But that was something.
Yeah,
that
but
young movie.
but it's definitely, I only recommend it if you're a big fan of Harry Potter because it generally makes it like way funnier, but also the edits sometimes are like way too
They're sparse.
far apart. Yeah,
That's the problem. That's what I was
there were
saying, like,
times where like 20 minutes would go by and we're like, remember when there was supposed to be like guns in this movie?
dude, I was like falling asleep.
Like they're
at the
talking
time.
about the Sorcerer's Stone, they're talking about potions class, and no like edits were being made.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden, a Dementor that was drinking the unicorn's blood would just pop up, and all of a sudden they just really bad green screen of someone using nunchucks, and as he's like flying towards Harry,
Yeah.
and we would laugh so hard, like we would like be falling asleep because we were watching it like late at night, and then all of a sudden an edit would happen where someone's using guns. And immediately I'd be like awake again and
Yeah, every
laughing
time-
my ass off.
Every time the actual edits happened, it was fucking hilarious. It's just you have to sit through the first Harry Potter movie every time. It's not, which it's not a bad movie. It's just
No, like I think there were times
was in it
where
for
when
the
there wasn't an
edits.
edit going on, you and me were literally like gushing about like, yo, this movie's charming
yeah.
and like in a way better than like the later movies in the franchise. It is like really fun to watch.
Oh,
I'd
just
call it
the
one of the
world.
better ones for sure. I mean, it's the first and second one are both.
The first
The
three,
first three are,
is
like,
definitely one of
solid.
the better ones, and then the last movie.
Well, the
is
first two
epic.
are both directed by Chris Columbus, right?
That's a pretty. I know the first one is. I forget.
I think the first two are, and they feel like Chris Columbus movies to me. Like I watched that, and I'm like,
The Explorer?
no, like the guy who, Goonies. Shut up. Goonies and Gremlins.
I appreciated that.
I know.
I don't, because I was gonna make that joke and I was like, no, it's stupid. Anyway,
You know, one time in college, I get a notification on Twitter that one of my professors followed me, and I'm like, I wonder what the last thing I tweeted was, and I look, and the last thing I retweeted was Columbus Day, and the last thing I retweeted was Christopher Columbus can explore my cock and balls, and I was like, well, I guess the professor's gonna see that.
good.
So while you were saying that, I looked it up, and Chris Columbus only directed the first two. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he, I don't know, those feel like Chris Columbus movies to me. Like it feels, I have a similar feeling when watching those that I do when watching Goonies or
CGI
Gremlins.
doesn't hold up.
oh no, not
Which,
at all.
to be
They're,
honest,
like-
does make it so that when they do an edit with guns, even though the edits look really bad and obviously like done by like just guys just doing it at home, at least the rest of the movie doesn't hold up in terms of its special effects, so it doesn't look too
At least
out
the
of
movie
place.
doesn't hold up.
yeah.
This seems like the kind of thing, because I watched the trailer with you guys. It seems like the kind of thing where I would find the trailer really funny, and then the joke would get old when I watched the full version.
Well, the
No,
joke
here's the
doesn't
thing.
get old.
The joke,
it's
the
just that
joke is
movie's like
hilarious,
2.5
and the whole
hours long.
every time it came up, it was hilarious. But yeah, the movie is 2.5 hours long. There would be times where 20 minutes will go by without an edit.
See,
Yeah.
So
that's why I'm always hesitant with these kind of things where they're like, oh, the whole movie will be funny edit, because sometimes I'm like, will it stay funny? I'd be willing to watch the what's the Star Wars Backstroke of the West thing? The one where
the one
all
where they
of
put
Revenge
it
of the
through,
Sith
like-
was Google translated back and forth.
Oh yeah, I actually do want to watch that. I watched like the first 10 minutes, then I was
Yeah, I was
dying
with
one
you.
day.
I
I remember
Were we?
someone showing
watched
it to me in class once, and I was laughing my ass off.
One of
I
our
was
one
also-
of our friends.
Yeah.
And then I don't know. The most I can the only one of like thing like that I've watched and I'm like, no, this is hilarious, and I would be willing to watch it start to finish again is like the Sonic fan dubs that
Yeah, oh,
what are they called?
Snapcube.
Snapcube
Yeah.
makes, where they, I mean, those are video game cutscenes and they're like an hour and a half, hour long, I think, at most. So at most it's the length of like a not very long movie.
Here's the thing. Some of the edits in the movie were really creative. Like when Hermione, like Neville's trying to stop them from going into the one
Yeah.
chamber with the Cerberus. He's like, I'll fight you. And then Hermione's just like, Neville, I'm sorry I have to do this. And she just puts out a pistol and Flower just shoots him in the head. And they edit in him actually getting shot and like blood splattering. And then he like drops down. And then you hear Ron saying like, bloody brilliant, scary, but brilliant. And then they have to walk around Neville's body as they edit in a puddle of blood
Yeah,
getting
yeah.
bigger as he's laying there.
And
It's
I
like
remember-
they're very creative edits. It's seriously not just a wand's there. Let's just After
Yeah.
Effects a gun in there. Like you can tell they like would green screen and like actually like make their hands do what they have to do to match what the characters are doing.
Yeah.
Which was probably really hard considering when we see the edits, you can see like where the arms are, like cut off from like the character arms and like whoever did the green screen effects.
Yeah.
Also, there was also this one edit that they messed up where they go to what is it, Ollivanders or whatever, the wand
The one
shop.
shop, yeah, all of them.
The sign for the shop is also edited, so it's like what Ollivanders.
It's like Ollivander's guns. That's what it says. Yeah. On the last couple frames, it switches back to wands before the scene
Yeah.
transitions.
And there will also be just other funny edits, like they go to Harry's vault and instead of the pile of gold coins, it's just a ton of bullets and shell casings, and he's just like, wow. So, in my opinion, if you do like Harry Potter and you're okay with watching the movie again, watch the edit, because it honest to God makes the movie like way funnier, but it's also just the movie. So if you're already a fan of the movie, you're not going to be wasting your time. But yeah, if you're not a fan of Harry Potter, it doesn't make it that much better because you still have to pay attention to the other parts.
Yeah. Like,
So yeah, someone who's not a fan of Harry Potter might get bored of it, but I definitely recommend it to Harry Potter fans.
Anything else going on, Brian?
With me,
Yeah, with your
looking up at the docket I made for myself. Well, do you guys want to talk about how the Avatar creators left the live actions adaptation?
not much
Oh.
to say other than I can't fucking wait to watch that.
2 bad live action versions. We're getting 2.
Can we go for 3? I want a third one.
No, I want
I want
shitty live action Korra. Cause that'd be funny because the thing it's based on isn't even good. Haha. Korra fans, eat my shorts. The first season is good and the rest stinky.
I mean, I wouldn't argue that much with you. The only other season I'd go to bat for is 3. So
I honestly feel sorry for them though, because they seem like they were legitimately like
Yeah.
excited for
Well,
it.
yeah,
Like, they're
it's
like
the,
we're
like-
we're doing it. Like yeah, and they even said in their official statement that people that are really talented that they loved working with, like they're technically still part of the project. So even though the creators are leaving, even then they're like, yeah, but like a lot of our friends that are really talented are still working on it. So that's not to say it's gonna end up being bad. But when like the people that created the property and made it good in its original run, when they leave, then Netflix, I don't know what the hell is going on, but like, why should we trust you? like Netflix didn't create Avatar. Like I want to know what they have to say.
You
It's
think
also
something
like
happened because of how popular Avatar's been on Netflix? It has the record for the longest time. How
Wait,
like,
what?
You think it had something to do with how popular Avatar's been on Netflix?
what them leaving.
No. Like something happening behind the scenes because of that. Like Netflix got weird because Netflix was very like they talk about it in the post they made on I think Instagram or something where he's like yeah, Netflix acted really supportive at the beginning and that they were gonna let us do our thing and everything, and like that didn't end up being true. And I'm wondering if some executive at Netflix saw the popularity of the original when it came out, because it held the record. It holds the record right now for like longest number one show on Netflix or something, because it was there for weeks
I mean,
after it came out.
we don't know the specifics. So I'm flat out gonna say like probably not. Just because if it was popular, Netflix would probably give them more creative freedom.
And well,
If anything, I feel like Netflix probably would say something like, "Oh, we want you to like stretch it out and add more to it," and they're like, "No, we want to just adapt the 3 books and that's it." And they're like, "No, but can you like do more?"
That's what I mean. Yeah.
and
So,
I mean,
like Netflix should be
Nickelodeon
weird.
has to have some kind of input on this, right? I mean, they own the property. Like
I guess so.
whoever owns Nickelodeon, Viacom.
Yeah,
Something
like that.
yes, I think.
It's
So
Viacom.
I wouldn't be surprised if they had some input too.
Yeah.
But I don't know. How often do you see something like this where something beloved gets a big old reboot that screams I want money, and and how often do you see that something like that come out and them at least originally going, "Oh, but we're going to have they ask the original creators for their direct input." I feel like that doesn't happen that often. Usually they're like producers or something
Yeah.
where they're not really in control. They have some say, but like I don't know how often does something like this happen that isn't like a passion project started by the creator, you know?
Not, I mean, I'm sure it's happened a couple times, but it's not like that common. I don't think. But
So it's really sad that they they didn't get to make this
yeah,
thing.
it's like
I didn't even know that they were like a part of it, to be honest. because
that's why people were like,
Well, no,
okay, this
that's
has
why
a
people were
chance.
like, "Yeah, like, give it a chance."
I mean, granted,
I never thought to give it a chance because I didn't know that.
they did also make Korra, so
Yeah, but
you know,
Korra,
it's not like
okay,
now Korra has a lot of other
I would say
outside
Korra
problems.
is very very close to being good for me.
Yeah.
I think all of the issues with Korra have nothing to do with them. It's all very clearly when you watch it, it's very clear that the issues were management issues and that the show was
Nickelodeon constantly like,
Oh, we're
we
gonna
might
cancel you.
Yeah,
just kidding, make another.
JK. Yeah. Still got Dragon Prince. That's the other thing that gets me is that they have like 3 seasons of Dragon Prince left to do.
On Netflix.
On
And
Netflix.
Are
On
they
Netflix,
creators of that show?
Yeah.
Did either of them work on Voltron, or was that other people from Avatar?
I think
It's
one of
just
them
the
might have.
animation
I
studio.
think it might just be the same animation studio. Yeah, I don't think they actually had any like.
Because if it's the same studio, those 2 people might not be a
Well,
part of it, but a lot of the same people that
yeah,
worked
that's
on
what I'm asking,
Avatar,
yeah.
and like not just animators, like literally just like producers and all that.
I thought there was like at least a writer or something. I don't know.
Well,
See,
Avatar
I
has a lot of
wouldn't doubt it.
writers.
Yeah,
so
that's what
that's
I'm saying.
probably true. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
You have
Sucks.
anything else, Brian, that you saved up?
I think I have like one more, and I don't think anybody here cares about it.
What's that?
I wrote down that Rocksteady's making a Suicide Squad game.
I care, but not like. I hear that and I'm like, oh, if it's good, I'll play it. But there's not much else I have to say about that. Like I played all the Arkham games and they were all at least good.
Yeah, I played Arkham Asylum, which is the one of those that would be the most up my alley because it's kind of like Metroidvania-ish because you use build and I thought that was like okay, that was fine. So I'm like, I ain't super excited for whatever else they're putting out. I guess like it's been a hot
I
minute
think
since
it's
they put
cool that
anything out,
they're-
right. It was like 2015 when Arkham Knight
Yes,
came out.
it is the first PlayStation 4 game I bought. it
It
is.
wasn't my first, but I guess you got your PS4 after me.
Yeah, I got an Xbox One first
Oh, interesting.
because Sunset Overdrive.
Oh,
Yeah.
But I got a
good pick.
I got a the Arkham Knight bundle. My Arkham Knight is on my PS4 box
I didn't know
that I
that.
still have in my room.
That'd be cool to
But-
have.
What was I gonna say? Yeah, I'm glad that it's not like Arkham 4. Like, even if it is still a Batman property, I'm like, this is still something different.
Well, they always said that they were going to do a DC property.
Yeah.
But they
Everyone assumed they were
specifically
gonna make Superman.
what?
I thought the rumor was always Superman.
that's what the rumor
No,
was.
that's what people wanted. And Rocksteady Flat was
Oh,
like,
that's what
no,
I'm
we're
saying.
not making
Oh.
Superman. But then
What?
people would always pick and choose, like, because they're still working on a DC thing. So they're like, oh, this is a reference to, like, Metropolis. And then, so everyone's like, oh, so it will be Superman. And Rocksteady has to be like, no, it's not
No,
Superman.
Stupid.
But here's the thing. The official poster for the Suicide Squad game is literally the logo for Suicide Squad looking like a reticle over Superman's head.
Oh, really?
So
I saw people saying
Superman's
it was
probably
probably
going to be in
Bizarro.
the game.
Oh, that would be sick.
I saw a lot of people thinking it was Bizarro.
It could be, but the colors of the poster are really weird, so I don't
Mm.
know. Like, his back is turned. You only see like half his face, so
Yeah.
I actually can't tell. It looked like Superman to me, so that's why
Sure.
I said Superman.
They should make something weird. They should make like a Martian Manhunter game.
Well, the poster is leading everyone to believe that's going to be a Suicide Squad versus Justice League game.
What?
So
That would be
Justice
cool.
League wins.
yeah, the Justice League would win.
Superman exists. They lose the second they start.
Superman could crush them, and so could Green Lantern, and so could
Batman,
probably the
like,
Flash.
Girl,
Yeah.
Superman, but girl.
Wonder Woman, like, yeah.
Oh, sorry, this is a complete tangent, but DC reminded me of this, and I wanted to bring this up. So I recently got an HBO Max subscription, and they have like all of the Batman animated movies on there.
Yeah.
So I went through and I was like, okay, I'm gonna save some of these and maybe I'll watch them one day. Which ones are good? And I was going through and seeing like, okay, I'm gonna save this one, and then I saw one that people were like, this one is fucking awful, and it was Batman and Harley Quinn. Do you know much about this one, Brian?
Yes, she sings "Hanging on the Telephone" in the movie.
Yeah, she sings. There's an entire scene where she sings an entire Blondie song. Other complaints. Also, her voice is awful in that movie. It's
Awful.
yeah. It's
I didn't think that.
well, I mean, she's not a singer for that scene, but I don't know. I just don't like her as Harley Quinn. It's Melissa Rauch, the fucking one of the characters from The Big Bang Theory.
Oh, was it the blonde chick?
Yeah, the one
Oh.
married to
She's in
Howard.
the new Harley Quinn cartoon.
Is that her still?
Yeah.
Cause it sounds good in there. Okay, maybe I was just
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
why
know.
I'm like, she doesn't.
something
sound
about
bad.
it I didn't like. I don't know why, but
Dude, I'm so sick of
But
Tara
that-
Strong
that-
being Harley
off
Quinn
right
though.
there. Downer day.
yeah, but that wasn't even what I was gonna bring up. Do you know that they waste like 2 whole minutes on that film, on this scene of Nightwing and Batman driving in the Batmobile and Harley Quinn in the backseat farting?
2 minutes.
It's like a while.
Someone's fetish was satisfied that day on the production crew.
Wow.
Someone had to get. Someone had to ADR
It's
that.
it's just like her being like, "Can we pull over?" My stomach and
Can we pull over, Brap?
Can we please?
it's like her, and then Batman's like, he just ignores her, and she's like, "Okay, fine," and then she farts, and then Nightwing like covers his nose. He's like, "Oh," and Batman just keeps driving. And goes, "It's not that bad."
That's funny.
Batman.
yeah.
Hold on,
It's not that bad.
Do it again.
Well, yeah, and then she does it like 3 more times until Nightwing is like, I don't remember what he says, but he's basically like, "Please, I'm going to throw up," and he's like, "Fine," and then Batman also quietly covers his nose. But like, apparently that film is just fucking awful, and honestly, it got me like curious to the point where I was like, I almost want to watch this shit show. It's not old. It's from like
No, it's not.
2015
it was very,
or something. Later
after
than
2015.
that. Yeah.
It was like 2018.
Oh my god, yeah.
Ooh.
But yeah, I learned that over the weekend and was like, oh, what the fuck. Sorry, I didn't mean to take that tangent. Brian, did you have anything else you wanted to? Any other topics you wanted to
That
bring
was
up?
all the topics I wrote down.
Ryan, do you mind if I go next?
Sure, go ahead.
Because I had a couple quick things I want to talk about. First of all, I beat 3 games this weekend. I beat because I've been like, this is not typical of me. Usually I start a game and then don't play anything else until I finish it. I've been balancing like 7 games for the past couple months just because I've been like quarantined. I don't care. So this weekend I beat The Last of Us Part 2, which we will talk about. I beat Portal 2, which that game's amazing. That is the second best game I think I played this year after Doom Eternal, and I would put it above Resi 4 for myself because I'm like, this is amazing. And then and I really want to Portal 3, that'll never happen. But then I also played we beat Left 4 Dead 1 for the first time. Me and Ryan and 2 other friends.
It's a cool ass game.
Yeah.
I've never beaten the whole way through. I played a lot of 2, but I never played the first one.
It's fun. It's just I wish we had more co-op games that would come out. I wish there would be
Valve games.
I'm just not super into like competitive multiplayer. Like I don't want to play against my friends. I want to play with my friends towards a common goal.
Are you gonna get the new Avengers game?
No.
Oh, I was gonna bring that up because that thing looks like a piece of shit with
you know
decent gameplay.
You know what? I was gonna bring it up actually. I think I wanted to talk about it last week and we just never got to it.
Do you want to talk about that before I go into my stuff? Or
I'm fine with just going through it quick, just because, man,
Depends.
everything about that game looks like fucking me poison, except for the gameplay.
Like
a little
everything
bit.
that you don't want in a game is in it.
Yeah, the fucking gear system, like.
Dude,
the
someone
co-op
put up a
stuff,
screenshot of what the upgrade screen looks like. The menus, it is a clusterfuck.
That's what I'm talking about.
Stats. There's like 7 different currencies, levels and shit, just numbers everywhere, and it's like, oh, dude, like
I look at that and I just get exhausted. I'm like,
dude,
I don't care.
not gonna lie, even though I like God of War, I was kind of exhausted with that too.
Yeah, the like armor system in God of War 2018 is like so stupid. It's like needless. Like, just give me like a move set. Give me points I can put into a move set. That's it.
Like it, but I flat out was like doing math sometimes to figure out what like piece of armor was better than another.
Oh, see, I don't go that far because I don't care enough.
see, I didn't do that because I knew to just do the Valkyries, get the Valkyrie armor. And that's what I
The
wanted.
Valkyries are hard, so
or
I
you
wanted to
follow
get
the
good.
golden rule of is the actual like defense number higher? Just go with that. You'll be fine. Like, I don't know. I can't min max. I just get like
Oh yeah, that is also poison for me. I'll play some RPGs, but I won't dive into them. You know what? I like Paper Mario. I like RPGs like
Dude,
that.
even some
Undertale.
RPGs like Final Fantasy VII didn't have upgrade shit that was that intense with stats and all that. Although you can make it like that if you want, but it's not as in your face as something like God of War or Marvel's Avengers.
yeah. Even something like Dark Souls, which is like notoriously like
Have you seen
hard to follow.
Have you
with
seen
everything.
gameplay of Marvel's Avengers?
That's what I was saying. It looked alright.
Dude, there's a part where there's a whole level where you can play as Hulk, but you can play as Bruce Banner before that as like a little walk and talk section because games have all
the
those.
best.
Dude, when Bruce Banner's his walk cycle, he's like walking down a very rocky path because it's a like jungle that they're in.
Mm-hmm.
His body, his animations do not change depending on if you're going like down or up elevation or anything like that. It is the most stiff animation ever of just him just going.
Amazing.
I want to see it.
I couldn't believe that how much like this technically is a AAA game, and yet something as simple as that, like you didn't bother giving him an animation from walking down steps. Like
I get big like Destiny 1 vibes when I look at this game, where I look at it and I'm like, this isn't gonna have a lot of content. I don't think. I think it's gonna be short and not have a lot to do, but they're gonna bank on the fact that it's Avengers
yeah.
and just go with that. And like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, you'll buy the expansion, you bitch.
Some of the gameplay did look good. Like Hulk is, I guess, a good little brawler kind of character. You can fly with Thor and shoot fucking lightning, but also beat people up with the hammer and all that shit. Black Widow is there. Taskmaster's in the game.
Wait. How does it work? Is it like each level? Do they go, oh, you're playing as Hulk this time. It's not like you pick for every level.
Okay,
Because
so
it's co-op, right? There's 4.
yeah, no, the whole point of the game is that it is multiplayer. Every level has a multiplayer component, but there's still a story. So every level there is still a story going on where the characters are there for a reason.
Are there multiplayer walk and talk segments? Because that's awful.
I don't
Because
know,
people are
when
gonna
I
talk
saw
over them.
Here's the thing: when I saw gameplay for
Remember
it,
Gears of War?
oh,
Why?
If we played co-op,
Yeah.
there's just walk and talk sections in that.
I don't remember them. I think I talked over them.
Probably, yeah.
but here's the
Because
thing:
they're stupid.
for Marvel's Avengers, every time I see gameplay of it, it doesn't show off multiplayer. It's just one guy playing. Like there was a beta for it, and I still only saw like the person streaming was just him. He wasn't playing with someone else.
How much
So
do you
it's
think
just
it's? Do you think it's gonna be busted day one?
I don't know.
Oh,
I mean,
I could see it.
they have multiple betas and shit, but
'Cause that's not even
how
something
often
that-
does that mean?
How far are we from launch?
Yeah, September 4th is what Wikipedia
That's
says.
still pretty soon.
Yeah, it's like
It's also coming out for Stadia.
Ooh, that's gonna run like
Like every Stadia game.
Like,
Like every Stadia game.
as smooth as crunchy peanut butter. But yeah,
Be as smooth as nails in a cereal bowl.
ew. All right,
Butter with
back
gravel in
back
it.
back to my week. Whoa, is everything okay? I
I
just
don't know, everyone's yelling.
I tugged on a cord and our mixer almost flew off the table.
Quick, do bonk.
Bonk? No, I'm not gonna bonk. Brian will get mad at me.
I will absolutely get mad. I'm the one wearing headphones. I hate you.
Did he do it?
Yeah.
Okay. So I beat those games. The other thing I've been up to is because I have this HBO Max subscription and they have a bunch of old Adult Swim stuff on it. I started watching Space Ghost Coast to Coast from the beginning. I'm on season 2 now, and there's 11 seasons. 9 of them are on HBO Max. For anyone who might not know what this is, so back in the day, in like the 60s, there was an old Hanna-Barbera superhero cartoon called Space Ghost. Then in the 90s, Cartoon Network started. Cartoon Network originally only did reruns of old cartoons. They did Looney Tunes, Popeye, old Hanna-Barbera stuff like Yogi Bear, they did Tom and Jerry, whatever they had the license to. And I think the president of the Cartoon Network at the time really didn't want any original programming. So the people who did want it had to like fight for it. Eventually he was like, okay, fine, I'll let you make an original show. But he gave them like no budget, and it aired at like 11 p.m. And so with that no budget, what they did is they took the old Hanna-Barbera Space Ghost cartoon, they cut up the animation with some new backgrounds and voice acting and stuff, and they made a talk show out of it where they got real like live action people, like they got real guests. Like even by season 2, there was like real celebrities in there.
Like Carol Channing.
Yeah, and the Ramones and Jim Carrey and stuff.
Not as impressive as Carol Channing.
And they have the animated characters interview them. It's technically the first original Cartoon Network show. It also eventually became the first original Adult Swim show because it aired late at night and the humor is fairly inappropriate, especially as it goes on. So eventually they created Adult Swim and put it on there. It's fucking hilarious. It's a lot of the jokes are because how they would do it is that the voice actor for Space Ghost would interview the guest. Then they would take that interview. They would only take the guest responses and they cut it up, and they would kind of form the episode around that. So sometimes Space Ghost would say something that the actor didn't say during the interview, and they would use a response the guest made to it to just make some kind of joke. They would leave in things that he did by accident, like ad-libs, or like when he's interviewing the Ramones, the voice actor accidentally burped really loud and said, "Oh, too many Cokes," and they left that in the episode as Space Ghost doing it. But the reason I bring this up, besides that it's really funny and everyone should go watch it, is Brian, I wanted to tell you about how, boy, does this show how old Space Ghost is. So, Brian, do you have any idea what I believe it's called What a Cartoon is? Okay, so for those two you might not know. Cartoon Network, when they did start making original programming, what they would do is Hanna-Barbera Studios would make these like shorts, and they would all air in this block called What a Cartoon. And a lot of these shorts later became full series, like they used that as a pilot for it. And then there's other things like people made things for What a Cartoon that eventually turned like one of them eventually became Family Guy. Like they would spread out all over the animation industry, right? So Space Ghost in the season 2 opener, Space Ghost is like a really long episode, and what it is him with a panel of judges, and they have 5 animators from Hanna-Barbera competing to get their short to play at the end of the episode. So like the second half of the episode is an entire short, whoever wins the competition, and they would show a clip from each of them. This is how old they are. Out of the 5 of them, 3 of them are the pilots for Dexter's Lab, Johnny Bravo, and Powerpuff Girls. And when I watched that, I went, oh my god. And Powerpuff Girls is the one that won. So the second half of that episode is just the pilot to Powerpuff Girls, which I've never seen before, and it was like, this is weird. But that's really cool. And I'm enjoying Space Ghost not just because it's funny, but because it's like part of like it is a major piece of like American animation history at this point. Also just Adult Swim. Like Eric Andre said that his show is heavily influenced by Space Ghost and that he marathoned a bunch of it right before writing his show. But yeah.
I can see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After reading that, I was like, oh yeah, like that I can see that through line. Some other things I wanted to bring up, little topics. One I thought was interesting is so a lot of current gen games are gonna move to the next gen, like what happened between 360 PS3 and PS4 Xbox One, and those had this practice that in hindsight is actually pretty shitty. I think. I mean, I don't know how else they would have done it, where a game would come out in Xbox or PS4 or Xbox 360 or PS3, 2012, 2013, and then a year or two later would come out full price on the new thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, great. Now those PS3 games that I bought that I hadn't gotten around to yet, I now have the shittier version. Or people are paying full price for an old game. And so that is being fought against this generation. Like a lot of games are announcing that if you own them on the old console, you will get some kind of upgrade for your new console. Like I know if you buy Yakuza 7, you can upgrade to the PS5 version or something like that. And Xbox has been really cool about it. So did you see that there is going to be a next gen version of Control, but you can only upgrade it if you buy the new Ultimate Edition of Control. If you have the day one version of Control, you cannot upgrade it to the PS5, Xbox, Series X version. You need to buy the new version that's coming out that I don't know the price point on. I'm gonna be honest.
I think it might be $50. It might be I don't actually know.
But you have to buy that Ultimate Edition that I think comes with the Alan Wake DLC they just announced, and then
it comes with all the DLC.
And then that is the only thing that'll be upgraded. And I saw that and went, wow, that's
I'm gonna
shitty.
fucking laugh my ass off if that game still has frame rate and performance issues on PS5.
Yeah,
Because I think it's still not fixed.
really.
It was.
I know they
fucking
fixed some
horrible,
of
man.
it.
No, they did fix some of it, but it's like it's not 100%. There's still like when there's a lot going on, it still will lag, and you will still get stuff. There's like a shit ton of screen tearing that'll happen. Like
I imagine it'll
they
be
have
better.
to like regularly update it to like fix things like one at a time, but it's still like not quite there. I think.
I've never played it, but I own it on PS4, so that's the version I'm gonna play.
And the thing is also like, it doesn't look like The Last of Us Part 2 or anything like that. Like the graphics aren't like amazing. It's not. They're good, but it's mostly art direction. It's not like anything that will blow your mind. So the fact that it runs that poorly, I seriously think it's just like the programmer's fucked up. Like I think that's what it is. Like, so that's why like if you port it to PS5, I'm still scared that it's still gonna have those performance issues because it shouldn't have performance issues on a PS4 or Xbox One.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a shame. That's so stupid that the original it pisses me off in the same way that pisses me off that I can't buy the fucking DLC for Spider-Man.
I knew. I was thinking about it while I was saying it. I was waiting for you to bring it up. Tell this story.
For anyone that doesn't know, I bought Spider-Man PS4 on I think that I pre-ordered it and got it the day it came out. I think.
Yeah.
I don't remember. Either way, I have the original
I
version.
think
of
you got
Spider-Man
it for Christmas.
I might have, yeah. either way, point is, I got the like original Spider-Man PS4 edition, whatever. A couple months or like a year later or something, they released the Game of the Year edition or whatever for it, and that included all of the DLC that had come out over the months or year or whatever in between. And when that happened, I was like, oh, cool, whatever. I'll buy the DLC eventually when I have money. Came to a point where I had a couple of cash. So I was like, oh, I'll get all the DLC for Spider-Man PS4 finally. I'll finally play through it. I really love this game. You just can't buy the DLC for the original version anymore.
You did buy it though, right? But you didn't.
No. What? Okay, it's really bizarre because you can like go to the store and buy the like Game of the Year edition versions of the DLC or something, which I assumed was included with the Game of the Year edition. So I don't know what the fuck that's about. And yeah, that's the only way.
But you didn't purchase it at all?
No, I did buy it because
And
I thought it was just gonna work with both.
And it didn't?
No,
Like,
so I had to
it
get a
worked
refund for it. Or I actually don't even think I ever got the refund for it.
It
I think I just got
What does
fucked out of.
Okay, now I want to look at this. What does the Game of the Year edition come with?
I don't know.
I think season pass.
That's why I'm like, why do they sell it separately then? If you can just.
Yeah.
I feel like I missed an upgrade.
I mean,
to the
there was
Game of the
definitely
Year
like
edition or
pre-order
something.
DLC, so it probably comes with all the pre-order DLC in case you didn't pre-order. Like there was
Yeah.
exclusive skins, and I think they even gave you like boosts to your upgrades when you boot up the game and all that.
Yeah.
So it might just have that shit.
That reminds me of how on Steam you can't find the DLCs for Skyrim based
Based edition.
Get it for
Base
a little
edition?
butter, rosemary, garlic.
Shut the fuck up. But you can't find those DLCs unless you go like somewhere on the internet and find a direct link to them, because you can still buy them. They're just hidden from the store. So if you like, I already owned Skyrim without owning the Game of the Year edition.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I want to go back and replay it on my PC with the DLCs. I was like, I can't find them. What's going on? And then I found direct links and bought the DLCs. And
You might be
I
able
was
to do
like,
that with
why?
Spider-Man. I don't know. Because here's the thing, I just looked, and the individual DLCs. Did you buy the pack that says City That Never Sleeps?
Yeah.
Because the individual DLCs say purchased for me. Because I have the original edition. And I don't know if that means that if you bought them, that they would work. And I don't know if it's just
I don't know. At the time, I looked into it super hard because I was pissed, and
I don't, it's
I
still
don't know if I
ridiculous.
just missed
though.
it.
They're like,
Well, because I looked it up and people were asking the same question I was, where it's like, why can't I buy the DLC for this? And like, Insomniac responded and was like,
each shit.
basically like, yeah, tough shit. Like, it's like how you can't buy the original version of Dark Souls on Steam anymore either.
oh my god.
Prepare to Die edition is just gone unless you already had it, like I do. It's like, fuck off.
I hate when they delist an old version like
Yeah.
that. You see that shady shit that Nintendo does when they did here's the most recent time. They announced Pikmin 3 coming to Switch at like, I assume it's gonna be like $50. Day of, they delisted it from the Wii U store. They did the same thing with Donkey Kong, and every like Wii U to Switch game then gets delisted from the Wii U store when the new one gets announced, so that you don't try and buy it for, $20 on the cheaper console, which is like, that doesn't even make any sense to me, because I'm like, wow, I mean no, it does, because I was about to say they're just saying get fucked to whoever may own a Wii U and not a Switch, which is probably no one.
Yeah.
And even then, I'm like, no, yeah, but Nintendo probably does want to tell them to get fucked, because they're like, buy our console.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. But okay, I wanted to bring up this. I think ties in a little bit to our discussion earlier about creators and having, with the Avatar, people having control of their stuff. I don't know if you saw this, Brian, or if any of you did. Yesterday, Brian Lee O'Malley, the writer of the Scott Pilgrim comics, put out a thread talking about the status of Scott Pilgrim the video game.
Yesterday?
This fucking
Yeah.
pissed me off.
Okay. So for anyone who might not know, Scott Pilgrim, like obviously everyone knows the comic and then became a movie. This video game that came out around the movie, I think. That's supposed to be really good. I played a little bit of it. I've never owned it. Here's why: because they it was published by Ubisoft, and eventually Ubisoft delisted it from everything because of some kind of licensing issue, I guess. And there's no physical version of this game. It was digital only, and thus now, if you don't already own it, there is no way to own this game at all unless you pirate it, I guess. And so that this game has become the poster child for like why people buy physical games, because they can avoid stuff like this from happening. But so anyway, I'm just gonna read the thread. He put Scott Pilgrim game. For years now, I've been saying if Ubisoft, he even added them, at Ubisoft, ever puts the game out again, I'll be as surprised as you being the typical fan. I am my own typical fan in this regard. Also, for years now, I've been talking to I Am 8-Bit about what a cool physical edition we could do if the game ever got a re-release. John and I Am 8-Bit and Charlie have been doing legwork trying to make it happen for 4+ years, and still silence from Ubisoft. I keep asking around, and Ubisoft hasn't contacted me or Tribute Games or Anime Noguchi, who did the music, or anyone who worked on the game in any capacity. If the Scott Pilgrim game does get re-released and none of us are involved, how messed up is that? It's messed up. So it's not just that Ubisoft is like doesn't want anything to do with it. They won't even return his calls. They like are they're completely ghosting him and the development studio of that game, I believe. I think they just published it. So like, how fucked is that? that they're just like, no, not even gonna acknowledge you.
They're too busy harboring sex criminals at Ubisoft HQ to
What are you
pick up
talking
the
about?
phones.
You don't know about
You
that?
don't know about this?
No, what are you
fucking
talking
serious? The fucking one like CEO or whatever was like kicked out because there was a bunch of like allegations of sex crimes. I don't know the specifics. I just know he was like
Jesus Christ,
doing some shit, and he was a big reason why a bunch of Ubisoft games are like really boring and shitty, basically, because every
Really?
time anyone had a unique idea, he would like shoot it down and be like, no,
No, not
Like,
enough.
he's-
Not enough sexual harassment.
yeah, like he's the reason that one of the Assassin's Creed games didn't just have like a female protagonist or something.
Yeah, you had to have either a male or
yeah,
female.
yeah.
Even though everyone on the development team is just like the
No, this-
canon
the-
one is female.
Yeah,
Oh,
I think it's
the-
Cassandra and
Yeah,
the Roman one.
I thought it was
Odyssey?
Greek. I thought it was Greek.
It's
Yeah, it's Greek. It's the Odyssey.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yes, from that one. Yeah.
Oops. The one, yeah.
Um,
Thought it was. Wait,
what?
no, never mind.
Yeah,
But
no,
I
they're
know
not
it's
the same
Greek. I was,
thing.
no, I
Yeah.
know they're not the same thing. I was gonna say something else, but no.
Dude, I think even Edgar Wright has made a tweet recently, and by recently I mean like within the past year, about the Scott Pilgrim game and how he wants it to come back.
Well, yeah, it's like
It's like all the big names, even the ones that aren't in the video game industry, all the big names want it to happen. Ubisoft just doesn't give a shit.
dude, it's gotten to the point where people talk about it so much that they should know that they're just sitting on money at this point. Like they should know that, like,
Bizarre.
yeah, like what is?
It's an investment.
Are they worried that they're gonna look stupid for not releasing it sooner?
Well, I want to know,
they
like,
would.
they already do.
what
look
does it have
stupid.
to do with Universal? Like, is it actually like a Ubisoft thing, or is it also a Universal? Like, no, we don't want to waste our time.
Does Universal? What are they?
Do they
Well,
own
it was
every
a tie-in to the movie, so it was licensed through, like, the Universal logo is in the game, like, so Universal like partly owns that game, which is, and I bet you is the reason why it was delisted in the
Here's-
first place. Because if it was just the comic book associated with Brian Lee O'Malley and
Yeah.
Ubisoft, it probably would have never gotten delisted. It definitely has to do with licensing issues
Yeah.
with the movie from Universal Pictures.
Here's my thing. I understand if something like that is an issue. I'm not saying.
Yeah.
I mean, I was just saying they're sitting on money, but that's just because they're like won't respond to any of this. Because
Yeah,
if
Ubisoft
they
not
can't-
returning calls is still
yeah, I was saying
shitty.
if
Yeah,
they
at least
can't
tell 'em to
release it,
fuck
that's
off.
fine.
the fact that they're not giving an explanation as to why is like a much worse.
And it's not
deal.
even just that they're not giving fans the explanation, because fans don't like. fans aren't necessarily entitled to an explanation.
They're
about
just-
Fans
the
don't deserve
They're just
an explanation.
consumers,
Well,
so
'cause-
Ubisoft would rather them
But
buy
they're
a
also,
new
like,
game than
not entitled to like find out the inner workings of this game.
Yeah.
Like, but the guy who made the franchise, they should probably return their calls to him. like that's ridiculous.
Also, the director of the movie that the game is based off of is also like wondering what the hell's going on with it.
Yeah, that's insane. So I hope that gets a physical release one day. I would purchase it.
What's also weird is before it got delisted, literally months before it got delisted, they just made DLC for it. And so they added like 2 new playable characters and a multiplayer like battle / minigame mode.
That's so weird.
That was so weird because that means like years after the game was released, they put out DLC just because they knew it was going to get delisted. So they wanted as much people to buy it before it got delisted. Thankfully, I bought some of it. So I now have like the complete game. So if we ever want to play it, we can play as Knives, Chow, and Wallace now.
I did not know you owned that.
Oh, that's I played it.
Well, I was a huge Scott Pilgrim
years and years
fan.
ago.
So yeah, I'm. That game's hard. So I think I either beat it or I got to the last boss and never could beat it. And I think if you play multiplayer, the difficulty stacks. So the more player you can have up to 4 players. If all 4 people are playing, the difficulty will be at its hardest. I think it's been so long, but I'm pretty sure that's how it was.
Yeah, it sucks. Well, that was the end of what I had to talk about. Ryan, did you want to talk about stuff before we go into the Last of Us spoiler cast we were talking about?
Yeah, sure. I only really did like 2 things this week. I watched all of Kaguya-sama Love is War.
I heard that's really good.
Really good. It's really funny and gets sad sometimes. I wasn't expecting that.
Does it cover all of the manga or no?
No.
Because I was told...
No. There's 2 seasons out right now.
I think I was told to read it.
I started reading it because I was like, I want to know what happens next.
It's a shonen...
It's like 200 chapters in.
It's a Shonen Jump manga, but it's not
Jump. It's Young Jump.
Well, it's on the app. But not...
It is.
But to like purchase as volumes, it's not like on the app.
I think that's just Viz. I think it's like through Viz.
Oh, well, I don't know. I just know the Shonen Jump app.
I know.
I saw it there.
The
and
only
I was
reason
like,
I'm saying I know this is because about 6 chapters into the manga, it switches magazines, and they're like, "We're moving to Young Jump," and that's when I was like, "Oh, okay." But yeah, it's a cool comedy rom-com series where the 2 main characters are in love with each other, but they don't want to admit it to themselves, and are also convinced that the first one to they're convinced that the first one to confess will be like the bitch in the relationship, basically. So neither of them want to do that. So the entire series is each other like making up schemes to get into like stereotypical rom-com situations to get the other one to confess. And it's fucking funny. It's really funny. And like all the side characters are really charming. And the animation's great in the adaptation. The adaptation is like fucking awesome. Like, comparing, because I watched it first and then read it, and I was like, oh, that's a really cool, like thinking back, I'm like, oh, that's a really cool way that they adapted this. Like, so much fun. So much fun visual gags and shit. It's cool.
Yeah, that's like something I would like to check out eventually. I'd say it's on the list, but the list is too long now. I will never get through it.
Yeah. And the only other thing for me this week is Last of Us, which we'll talk about. Well, we could get into that actually, but I also played a bunch of Ghost of Tsushima. Spoilers, I enjoyed it. I've enjoyed what I played of that a lot more than The Last of Us. I'll say that much.
Are you playing in Kurosawa mode?
No, because I'm a
I
coward.
hear Kurosawa mode makes the game like twice as hard.
Yeah, because my one big complaint with the game so far is that the combat, like fighting like 3 or 4 enemies at a time, maybe, is fucking awesome. It feels sick. Like I'm like, oh, I'm a badass samurai. When it's more than that, which can happen fairly frequently, it's like, oh, this sucks. Like straight up sucks because there's just too much going on screen and it's like impossible to keep track of like who's attacking you and not. And also, there's no lock-on button, which was apparently on purpose, and I don't understand why. Because God, does that game need a lock-on button?
Samurai can't lock on.
Yeah. Like there's so many times where it's like, no, I'm hitting square, and I'm like, I just want to hit the guy over no this guy that no not him, and it's just like I can't target anyone, and it's like impossible. But when it works, it's really fucking cool. Also, like pretty good writing on the side quests. Like surprisingly decent writing on side
I
quests.
heard
which
the
don't
side
usually-
quests are like the meat of that game.
Yeah,
Because
they're
isn't
good.
the story like a very small percentage of the game?
Yeah, I did like. There's like the main story bit at the very beginning where they like introduce you to the character you play as and everything, Jin, and like sets up the story. Which the villain has one of the best introductions to a villain I've seen in a long fucking time.
Really?
It's really good. It's really solid.
What do you want to talk about it, or do you?
Oh, I can say if nobody cares. I don't
care.
You don't care.
yeah,
You don't
yeah,
care.
go for it.
Okay, it's what the hell's his name? It's not.
Listener, if you care,
Yeah, get fucked. He's a Khotan Khan, I think it is. Khotan Khan, yeah. He's like grandson of Genghis Khan,
It's like Kotal.
basically.
Yeah, it sounds like a Mortal Kombat
No,
character.
that's why I didn't say Kotal, because I think it's Khoten. Anyway, you're like the bravest samurai of your bunch rides up to him and is like, face me in one-on-one combat, coward, blah blah blah. And he walks up and just has like wine. Oh god. Has like wine on him and just splashes it on the samurai. And the samurai's like, what the fuck? And he's like, motions to one of his guys, and they just give him a torch and he just throws it at him, hits him, and he just lights on fire. And then as he's like panic on fire, he just like cuts his head off and is like, looks at the samurais and is like, yeah,
what you do about
what about it?
Jesus.
It's like, it's so good. And then like, I didn't get the. I'm mad because I forgot to change the language before I started because I wanted to play it in Japanese. But there's a moment where, because all the Mongols speak Chinese, I think it is. Yeah.
Mongolian.
Yeah. Yeah. Just Jesus. Yeah, they speak that, and then but then there's the part where he walks up to like one of the samurais with you and just starts speaking Japanese all of a sudden, and he's like, "I'm not dumb. I like." He's like, "Well, while you guys were sharpening your swords, I studied your culture and know."
I think that was
like,
in
how
one of
to-"
the trailers. I know
Yeah.
that moment.
Yeah, it's really cool. Very cool setup. Yeah, like a bunch of the side characters are cool so far. Like the way it's split up is there's like silver diamond quests on the map, and those are like the side ones, and then there are like necessary bigger quests you have to do before you can advance like the story, and those are all like right now it's I have to recruit a bunch of people before I can go like attack his base again, and it's like all those characters are really cool and they have like really neat backstories and everything that are like multi-part. They're like they're basically like 9 side quests strung together, but they're really cool. And yeah,
I would love to see, because I know the game's supposed to be like as accurate as they could make it for the time period and stuff.
definitely it's not.
Yeah. But I would like to see
I wouldn't know.
how it fits in to like where it's supposed to fit in Japanese history, because do you know what happened when the Mongols tried to invade Japan? So they tried to invade Japan and got like washed out by a hurricane, and then they tried to invade again and got hit by another hurricane.
That's hilarious. That's
Yeah.
really funny.
Yeah, dude. They stopped trying after that.
Holy shit. Get fucked by nature, Mongols. Yeah. One last thing. That game is fucking beautiful. So much color. Like the most color I've ever seen in an open world game.
Can't wait to play in Kurosawa mode.
Oh, yeah.
I heard that.
Well, that's part of the reason I almost don't want to, because there's like, you go to areas and there's like beautiful orange
Well, also-
trees with leaves
I've
going
also- did
Did I
everywhere.
even
Or like,
explain why the game's harder if you playing
No.
Kurosawa mode?
Oh,
Yeah, I
no.
didn't explain it.
oh,
Yeah,
sorry,
because like, isn't there like colored indicators like for when people are attacking? Like, don't they enemies like flash like red or some shit?
there might be a tiny red flash, but if there is, I have like blocked it out of my mind because I always go on like the
Okay,
animation of them going to hit you.
because I thought like
Because even the archers, you don't get one for them. They like yell a certain phrase before they shoot, and then you have to like dodge.
because from what I saw, like either red or yellow. Sometimes I think even blue. But maybe I'm just
Oh,
seeing
well,
things.
that you might be thinking of the stealth mechanic, because in the stealth, as enemies are like, if they're starting to detect you, like a bar will fill up and it's just a white bar.
Yeah.
Which might be weird. But then it turns yellow when they're like kind of noticed you, and then red when they did notice you.
Oh yeah. In
And there's
Kurosawa-
other visual indicators too that are like if you go into there's like a sorry, but there is a like detective mode kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where you crouch and then you can like sense enemies around you and they're like red. So I don't know how that works.
Yeah, in
And-
Kurosawa mode, it's all the same color.
Yeah, I don't
There's
know how it
no
works.
difference, and everyone's just like, no, the game is harder.
I'm not.
Because like
Yeah.
now you don't have any kind of indicator. You actually need to just hopefully the animations are like noticeable enough that you just can tell by how the enemies look.
Yeah.
But yeah, there is no visual indicator anymore in Kurosawa mode.
See, I've also heard people talking about how Kurosawa mode is like kind of dumb because, like it's neat, but it doesn't. I don't know enough about it to like really explain it, but it doesn't really look like a black and white film because it's not shot on black and white film. It's just something in color that's been.
It's also in 60 frames per second.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's also like something. Black and white film doesn't look the same as something that you when you take a color image and you grayscale it, like that. I don't know exactly how, but I know it's not
Well,
the same.
Well,
I don't know if you know any
well,
more
on
about that, Brian.
celluloid is the only way to achieve pure black in movies. If you shoot on digital, you don't get pure black. So that's a major factor in it.
That's probably part of it because I think that is something that like the black doesn't pop
And
as much as it does in a
Yeah.
black and white film, and that's why I'm kind of like
Like not a lot of people care about pure black, but like if you care a lot about color grading, you'll notice that like if you want something to be dark, like you'll get a lot of grain, or you can't go darker than what any kind of computer will let you, because it's just not possible. You need to actually have film and
see
that shit.
and that's where I'm like, not to like shit on Kurosawa mode or anything, but it's like. When I saw that, I was like, "Oh, that's neat. I'm not gonna use that."
Oh yeah, I was like, oh, that's a cool idea. I will not touch that.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, I'll move on. We can start Last of Us talk after this if you guys want.
I'm sorry.
One last
Are
thing.
we-
Yeah, sorry, but
Last of Us talk.
yeah,
I know what happens.
yeah.
we-
He watched me do the end, so you can discuss.
I'm gonna shit on it.
Are we
Yeah, good.
are we ending this podcast on Last of Us Part 2?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
we'll probably talk about it for a good while because there's a lot to say.
Oh, because I was about to mention another thing.
Yeah, go for it.
Like
Go
a
for it.
big we all watched
One last.
Lupin the Third, the first.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
And that
I didn't.
movie's
Yeah,
amazing.
Chef did.
Oh,
Yeah.
Chefton, I'm sorry.
That's
You would have liked it.
I don't know why you didn't. That was a really good movie. It
Yeah.
was like amazing, actually.
It
It's like one of my
We
favorite
talk- we
animated
talk
movies.
so much
One of my
about
favorite
an-
animated movies ever.
Dude,
Actually,
we
I
talk so
really
much about
love it.
anime
I
on this
fucking love that
podcast.
movie. It was awesome.
Yeah, I thought it was better than the Castle of
I don't like it as
Cagliostro.
much as Castle Cagliostro, but I
Really?
liked it a
Oh,
lot.
I was like
Dude, I
so
loved
much
it.
more into it. I was like, oh man.
No, yeah, we were about to talk about Last of Us, and I was like, we
Yeah,
talk about anime so much on this podcast. How did we almost forget to talk about Lupin the Third, the first?
Yeah.
So we watched Lupin the Third the first, Lupin Sansei the first, and it you know, that franchise has been running for forever. If you don't know what it is, look it up. It's like been going since the 70s, and they have like new series and new movies all the time. And this was what did you find out, Brian? Was it an anniversary film? Is that what it was?
It was well, I mean,
It was like
I don't know if it was supposed to celebrate Lupin's anniversary, but it did release the 50th anniversary of Lupin the
Okay.
Third.
And it was it's been around forever. The creator died right before this movie came out.
And to be honest, the quote at the end of the movie from Monkey Punch basically, also the fact that there's so many references to just shots of previous Lupin stories as well as music cues from previous Lupin stories, it most likely is supposed to celebrate 50 years of Lupin the Third.
I mean, and this one is, the other ones, it's a manga that got turned into anime, and then this is a CG anime movie that is absolutely gorgeous animation.
Dude,
I've never
competes
seen
with Pixar. It is like gorgeous.
I have never seen an
amazing looking.
anime film with CGI this good. Like I've seen animated like American or European or animated films or whatever with animation CG animation that's good, but I've never seen Japanese CG animation that good before. Like it was absolutely gorgeous, and it has the fun of Lupin down perfectly. Like the music is all like renditions of classic Lupin songs, and it's got the animation is so expressive. Like the
Yeah.
characters' faces and the fact when Lupin runs, his knees come like all the way up to his chest and stuff. Like
Yeah.
it's like
It's very
the
smooth
character acting is
and it's
amazing.
very like, honest to God, like it's better than most American theatrical animated movies. Like it's just so expressive. Even like the lighting and like textures on like everyone's clothing, it just looks so amazing. I honestly think it competes with Pixar films.
Yeah,
The one shot after the really cool little James Bond-esque intro for the opening credits,
Mhm.
it's just a shot of like the sky with like a tree branch. And it's honestly got one of the most beautiful shots in the whole movie. And it looked so fucking good. So,
not to mention that the movie's also like hilarious.
Oh my god,
C-
yeah.
c- should we? Chef, are you ever gonna watch this?
Yes.
oh, then we shouldn't spoil it.
I will not say, but I will just say there is a moment where somebody holds up a photograph, and
We were fucking dying.
there was what, like 5 of us in the Discord call watching this over
Yeah.
Discord. Fucking like, I didn't just laugh. I like screamed. Like I was not prepared for what was in that photograph.
Hitler?
What?
Hitler? Was it Hitler? Because Brian said Hitler in the chat, and I was like, "Oh, cool! I guess Hitler's in this movie."
When did I say Hitler?
think
in the
I
chat?
After
think it
Riley
was
sent
me.
the picture of Hitler.
Oh, so it's not my fault.
No, it is your fault. Riley spoil tagged it.
Oh. I didn't know you spoil tagged it. Oh.
Well, yeah. Even so, like, because we weren't expecting it. The actual image though is still fucking hilarious.
Yeah,
I
it's fucking great.
Yeah, that movie is fantastic.
Like,
it hasn't officially released in America. We watched. There's like it's like fan sub of it because it was. I think it was supposed to released in theaters in Japan right at the beginning of the pandemic in March. So the so I think it was supposed to release theatrically over here at some point, like limited release, but obviously that hasn't happened. And I guess they haven't done anything with it yet. I hope they eventually are just like, here, put it on Crunchyroll, put it on Funimation, whatever, and then
Yeah.
put out like a Blu-ray because I would buy that. Like, it's
I'd buy the Blu-ray.
If it had a dub, I'd show my parents straight up. They'd
Yeah?
watch it. They'd probably like it too. Like that's
Dude, I hope that it has a good dub because
Yeah.
I think Castle Cagliostro had a pretty good dub.
I didn't
watched
watch
the
it,
dub.
I
we
don't
didn't
know.
watch the dub. So.
I
I
watched
watched
the
the dub. It's really good.
Yeah, so like
I think that's
I
I think that's a movie that
also I
got
think they
dubbed
have
like
the
way
same.
later.
I think that they have the same American voice actor for Lupin since like decades.
That
I think.
probably makes it. Well, I don't.
What dubbing company does it?
I can look it up.
All I know is that David Hayter is in the Castle of Cagliostro.
Really?
Dub.
Well, guess we can go into Last of Us talk then.
Yeah. So
One
Terrible
thing quick,
game.
I was gonna say before we ended on Ghost of Tsushima, one big plus to that game, main character's voice actor in Japanese,
yeah.
same as Zoro's from One
Ah.
Piece. Very big plus. So yeah. Anyway,
Oni. Giddy.
yeah.
Sorry, Brian.
Don't say sorry to me.
Sorry, listeners.
Apologize to God.
So I wanted to preface my Last of Us talk with a little bit about how. So listeners may remember from a few weeks ago when I said Last of Us Part 2 is a bad game, and Brian yelled at me. I mostly said that to make Brian upset, and it worked. But
Good job.
basically, my thought at that point, I was almost halfway through it, and my thoughts were, it was all right. It was pretty good, and my thoughts have not changed. I think it's pretty good. Not amazing. But yeah, I guess I've been talking a lot. So does somebody else want to go into their thoughts on it first?
Yeah, I'll go into
Bri-
it.
Let's go. Brian, you beat it first, and you have the most positive experience with it. So why don't you?
Yeah, because I experienced no glitches or bugs or anything like that.
Oh, yeah.
Aren't you lucky?
Wait, should I explain that quick first?
Yours is probably the funniest.
Yours
Should I just
is.
go through my whole thoughts on
Mine
the
was
game then, or should I?
irritating.
Okay, I guess I'm just gonna go through
In
what
the
it was like
moment.
playing for me, because
Well, yeah.
I think this is a game that I actually do have. This is a game that I would find very interesting hearing different people's opinions on how they went into it because of how much shit has been going around with this game and everything. But I didn't get spoiled on anything besides the sex scene because it was a meme.
Yeah.
And it didn't mean anything to me anyway.
Did we say like this is gonna be mad spoilers? Did we
You
say
said
did we
spoiler
explicitly
cast.
say spoiler?
Oh, yeah,
talk?
yeah.
Okay.
We were going to spoil-
a lot.
All right, just
We
making
were probably going to
sure.
spoil everything.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Because
will-
the three of us
I
played
will
it and
also
Chef doesn't
give-
care. And
I will
knows what
also give
happens.
us warning. I might just name it The Last of Us 2 spoiler cast, or I'll just put it in the description.
Yeah, don't name it that because then no one like there's like over an hour of not spoiler.
Yeah, true.
But where was I going? So my experience, I didn't see any of this leaks, any spoilers like that. So I had no idea. All I knew is that there was this air of negativity around it, which I really wanted to ignore because I knew a lot of it was people who spoiled themselves without the full context and went, "That's stupid." And I agree that with
someone is stupid.
well, no, that's actually not what I was gonna say. I agree with what I just said, where these people are looking at spoilers without context a lot of time and going, "What? Why would you do that?" I'm like, play the game. But
I'm sorry for interrupting you, but this also happened with Final Fantasy VII Remake, where a bunch of people hated what was leaked and decided like we're not supporting it, we're not buying the game and all that. But I didn't look at the leaks, and then I played the game, and I was like, this game's great. And then it made me go back and play the original Final Fantasy VII. And I'm like, yeah, it's great, and I can't wait for the next part of the remake because I still think it's great. So when the leaks for Last of Us Part 2 happened, I was just like, well, I'm gonna ignore this again because these people are probably wrong.
But so I played through it, and I replayed the first one. Right? Am I the only one who did that? I replayed the first one like right beforehand.
Yeah,
Bri-
I didn't. I probably should have.
Brian,
but
did
I
you
didn't.
replay the first one ever?
Yeah.
Like, oh, you and I you replayed it right before I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I did that,
Thank you, pandemic.
and my general opinion of the first one is that it is very good. I would not call it a masterpiece, because of
What?
Listen, I think the story is amazing, and I also think the story didn't need to be a video game of the first one. Like, I think the first one would probably, I would argue it would be better if it was a TV show. Not that I think the game is bad. Like, I think the game is really good. But, like, I don't think any of the story, despite being, I'd say, amazing, the story and having great writing, doesn't really benefit from being a video game in any way. I don't think. Like, I don't think playing through it, it's not like I'm going, yes, I am Joel. There's no decision.
It really makes you feel like Joel.
And it's not like, I don't know, because I don't want to make the, like, not every good video game story needs choices and things that change the story. You can have a good linear video game story. I just beat Portal 2. That has an amazing linear video game story where you feel like Chell, like when you're playing that game, because the characters are talking, well, first of all, it's first person, so they're talking to you. The character isn't saying anything, which, again, I don't think are necessary for having a good linear video game story, but I think they help in that case. But anyway, first one I think is very good. Gameplay I think is pretty good. I think it has its ups and downs. This one, story starts off, and because my number one thing was, I was like, I need to know how they address the ending of the first game because it's arguably the best part, and it's like not something they can ignore, and it's not something they can be like, oh yes, Ellie found out the truth and she's fine with it. So that's my whole thing. I was like, they need to handle that well, and I will say, I think they really did. I think they really did because this is jumping to like spoilers to like over halfway through the game, but they like hint at it at the beginning and then finally resolve it at the very, very end of the last cutscene. But that Ellie finds out what Joel did and that her life could have been used to save people and it was not, and that she is now living while thousands of people die, and she resents him for it. She's like, I don't want to forgive you, blah blah blah. And I was like, that is well done. But she still like loves him as a father too. Like, I thought that was very well done. Like,
Yeah, that stuff was great. Yeah.
uh,
I'm glad. One thing I'm really glad about is that they got rid of the bullshit from the end of the first one, where, like, because I beat it and I was like, oh, okay, so there would have been a cure no matter what, but Joel did this. But then it's like,
Wait, why?
After
Can you explain why you thought that?
because that's if you don't read the notes, then it's like, oh yeah, obviously. But then they have
I
notes
didn't.
laying around that may imply that they've tried it before and fucked up, and it's like super low chance that they could do it. And it like muddled things a bit. I'm glad that the second one just completely ignores all that and goes, no, it would have happened. They would have had a cure. Joel fucked it up. That's so much better than the like, oh well, I don't know, maybe it wouldn't have worked. It's like stupid. That was so stupid. But I'm glad the second one just ignored all that.
But and then to explain a little more about my experience, where I, thought so the story was started going. I was like, okay, this is pretty good. Then Ryan, you and I both agreed on this, where the pacing takes a huge shit right at the beginning. Where the
immediately
first,
after the prologue,
it's the first chapter has awful pacing, and I think it's a mixture of being in a little open area, which is the most open out of all the areas. I think they get better as they get more linear, but
the other ones didn't even feel like open because they were so like
No, there was just a lot of buildings.
yeah.
But
and
the
that's
open area-
fine.
and the thing
I
is-
like that more.
it's not just that though, because the open area is not that long, but it's like you're not doing much.
You're with
Dina
fucking
and-
Dina.
I don't think Dina's awful,
Oh, she's so boring.
but her dynamic with
I like
Ellie.
Dina.
Her dynamic with Ellie is not nearly as interesting as Ellie's dynamic with Joel.
None of the characters' dynamics are.
Yeah.
The only one that comes close is
Tommy?
Abby and Lev, and we'll get
Oh.
there.
Yeah,
don't know, yeah,
so I don't
my
know if
opinion,
I
I think
was-
the reason why is because we don't like meet Dina. Like we don't see the moment when Ellie like first sees Dina. We're kind of just they just explain to us like, oh, they've known each other for a long time, and the only intro to anything in their relationship is now they've decided that they want to be in a relationship.
Yeah,
Which is like, yeah, but we don't know enough about her. Like, do we, like, would we even approve of this?
all of the character. Will we approve of it? What is that?
Well, like, cause as like,
Wait,
if
what?
she's not
Yeah, what?
likable,
I don't
she's-
approve of this relationship. You two should break up.
Okay, I said the wrong word. I don't know.
I'm just teasing you. Come on.
I didn't even catch what you said.
But
I wish they would have shown the scene at the like hoedown or whatever.
at the beginning,
Yeah.
well,
And then,
It
but
was-
not the
it
scene where they
was-
reconcile, but the scene where they do the dance and everything.
that was the first trailer for the game, or no, the second trailer or whatever.
Yeah.
So we had seen it already, but I'm like, it's not in.
that
the game.
doesn't count though.
Yeah, I
because
was
it's
like,
like, there are people that will buy the game that don't know what E3 is. They
Yeah,
just know
exactly.
that The Last of Us is a big marketable game.
Yeah.
But so yeah, so at that point I was already kind of like, okay, this pacing is meh, and the characters like it's just like you were saying, Joel and Ellie, you get to see their relationship form, and so you get to see the character development there, and you don't get to see this with Ellie and Dina until the very end,
Yeah.
and that's the part I like most with them is when they are at their end game, then they get a bunch of character development with each other, but up until then there's like none.
Yeah. I like all the scenes at the barn.
Yeah,
Stuff is great.
and then this is specific to my experience. When the game, after the first chapter, the pacing picks up and it gets better. During mine, so it's divided into prologue, then day 1, 2, and 3 for Ellie, day 1, 2, and 3 for Abby, and then there's some more
Then
stuff
it's
afterwards.
they went through barn,
Barn, and then
the island, and then
island.
yeah.
During day 3 of Ellie, so like right before the game hits the halfway point, my game just got me into a death save loop. It glitched out, and I guess what happened is I accidentally walked off a cliff while Ellie was like doing the walkie-talk loading thing.
What I'm curious, what scene was that actually?
Okay, after you first fight the Seraphites,
Okay.
and they're like hanging someone, and then you have to get by them in that like grassy area on the way to the hospital.
Yeah.
And you're still not at the hospital yet, and there's just one point. She's not like saying a lot. She says like 2 things, so it's hard for me to even note like what it was.
Mhm.
But I fell off a cliff, and it's not even like I just walked off. It's like it is a cliff. It was a thing I was supposed to jump across, and I tried to jump across, but she stopped to talk. And so then instead I walked off the cliff while she was talking, and thus what happened is that death sound, black screen. I push continue. The black screen doesn't go away, and I just hear death sound again. And I go, what? Do it again? Death sound again. And I'm like, oh, fuck. I go to check my saves, and the last autosave for some reason the way the save system in the game works, it's like by chapter or whatever. So the last save I could load was from 5 hours prior, and I was like, fuck no, I'm not redoing that. Especially because the game, again, like, I had just started to warm up on it. Like, I didn't want to replay all the stuff that I was like meh on. So I put it down. Originally I was, and this is when I said that in the podcast, I was like, that game's bad, because I wasn't gonna play the rest of it. And then what happened was, since then, because I searched it at the time and I saw nothing about it on Reddit or anything. Since then I searched it and found that a bunch of people got the exact same bug. That, and they also got it when Ellie is attacked by Abby's dog Alice. It can happen there too. If you like fuck up and like fall or something, the dog will just like auto kill you in a loop. So but what I figured out was that when I reload it, there's like a split second while the black screen is still up, before the death sound plays, where I can press start and open the start menu. Then I can reload from start of encounter, thus only having to replay about 11 minutes instead of 5 hours. So I did that, continued the game. But from there, did you have anything you want to talk about before we get into like Abby stuff, or like what you thought about Ellie's section of the campaign?
I found both sections to be fine. I mean, like, the pacing was bad for like the beginning part, but once you get into it, there's especially like near, like, the third day was probably my favorite, because that's when it got like the most intense. Like, Jesse comes, and then you have just a very long section where you think combat is over, but then even more guys come, and now they're aware that you're there, and so you're moving through all these houses trying to get away from them, only to accidentally keep getting to another area that's like full of these wolves, I think they're called. And I really liked that section, because there were even times where I'm like, I'm so low on ammo and all that, I'm just gonna like run past this and continue the story, only for a cutscene to play, and then shit, now there's just even more guys. So I was like constantly like on edge, like making sure like I wasn't gonna die. And I loved the combat in Last of Us Part 2. I definitely think it's way better than the first game. There's so many people that say like they don't improve on the combat at all. It's basically the same thing.
No, there's so much more. The
small things they fixed or added was enough to make it so much better.
Can you craft arrows in the first game?
No.
Yeah. When I
but you can pick it back up, which was so it basically.
Yeah, but you can do that in this game too, and I think in both games it's only sometimes and on headshots.
No, it's more likely on headshots. I think it was.
I thought it was only on headshots. I think it's more likely with Abby's crossbow than it is with the bow and arrow.
There were times where when I was playing the first game, I would miss, and I can just pick it back up from the wall that it attached to.
Pretty sure on this one it was only on headshots,
but enemy it breaks on the body shots, and I think Parker's right. I think it's like a chance if you hit them in the head. Pretty decent chance,
but yeah, and then like the bomb arrows in this are super sick. Even though they give them to you so late that I actually barely used them.
I don't know if I used them once.
I don't think you did either.
Wait, the bomb arrows?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
They give them to you like pretty far into day 3, and I didn't use any day 3 because I didn't know I was gonna. Right. I didn't know I was about to give up control of Ellie, so I didn't use them until. What?
I knew that, and I don't remember getting them. Like I don't.
Also, I think it's possible to miss.
It is possible. No, wait, you got the trophy, because I remember watching you play. You got the trophy, so you did get them.
So I guess I just never used them. I don't know.
Unless that was just
you have to craft them too.
Wait, hold on.
You have to go in the menu and make them.
Wait, hold on. Actually, that trophy could have just been for you got all the guns in the game.
I think that's it.
So maybe you missed the bomb arrows. Oopsie. But another thing I want to say was Abby and Ellie play differently slightly. Like Ellie is kind of sort of a new play style, while Abby is a lot more like how Joel played in the first game. And Ellie has way more traps and just tools in her belt basically to go after all these guys, because like I think Abby only has like 2 different like items that aren't guns that she can use.
Yeah, she can't use Molotovs. I don't think it was
pipe bombs.
She had pipe bombs.
She has pipe bombs, and there was definitely something else. I forget though.
don't remember.
Like regardless if we remember, Ellie had like 5, I think.
Yeah, Ellie had
4 of
like
them. She had like the
trap ones you laid.
the
She had
trap ones,
smoke bombs,
Molotovs,
Molotovs.
nail bombs. I think came back, or am I thinking of just a different kind of bomb?
I think nail bombs were only in the first one, but it's hard to remember.
Yeah, and then she had the different arrow types, both a shotgun and a rifle.
Oh, sorry. One of the things in this game where I went, oh, this alone makes the combat like way better than the first one is you can craft silencers for your pistol.
Yeah.
That you craft it and then you get 3 silent shots that you can use on stealth sections. I was like, this has completely changed the way I play it compared to the first one.
Silencers are great in any game if it's stealth. If anything, there are some games where like they make sure not to give you the silencer until later in the game because they know it kind of makes it easier. But I also love how it's just you find bottles and you attach them to your gun to make the silencer.
Yeah, just a bottle with a cloth stuck in it.
You can do that. The only thing the game does to like suspend your disbelief is in real life, it one shot and then the silencer's done. You can't use it anymore.
Also, silencers aren't like that silent.
No, that's
like, it's
every game
quieter,
ever
but-
made
And
is
movie.
like that.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
movie. Like
There's a fucking scene in John Wick 2 or 3.
Oh,
yeah,
where they're like
Where they're
silent
they're
shooting each
shooting
other
at
in
things.
between crowds in a mall.
yeah.
yeah,
and
they're
that
doing
scene is
that.
sick, but yeah,
But that's, like,
totally,
stupid.
Totally unrealistic, yeah.
What was I gonna say? Okay, what do you guys think about the golf club scene? What do you guys think about? So, spoiler, right at the beginning of the game, the reason why Ellie's chasing after Abby is because Abby tracks down Joel and fucking bashes his skull in with a golf club
Hold
and
on.
kills him.
I remember because I stayed away from the leaks,
Yeah, I had no
but
idea that was
so many
gonna
people were
happen.
making memes just about a golf club.
I had not
That
seen
I was
anything.
like, okay, something tells me someone's gonna die from a golf
I
club.
did not stay away from
So-
any leaks.
So I remember you, Ryan,
Yes.
kept saying like, "Oh, I can't wait for the golf club. I can't wait for the golf." And then I saw the game, and I'm like, "Why do people mention the golf club all the fucking time?" Because I was literally like,
uses to kill the fucking main
"Is
character.
it
the
just
first
do people
game.
think it's silly that's a golf club?" Or
No, it's the thing that she uses to kill him. Like that's it.
yeah,
It's
I
the
don't know
shock
what's-
that it's the shock that the main character from the first game is dead in an hour. I think that's
Yeah.
what it is, and because of how brutal it is, I think also.
It is. Yeah, she
Like,
blows
they
his fucking
show you
kneecaps
him-
with a shotgun, right? And then
And it's not
Oh,
even
dude,
just that she
that
bashes his skull in.
shotgun to the friggin' shin was the most brutal thing in the entire game.
No, I think her
I
hitting him in the
cringed.
head was with it because
No, I cringed when that happened because his skin was still attached.
I don't know. They showed
So,
like the last because she hit him a couple times. They didn't show it, and then they showed the last one where his like head caves in,
yeah,
and I was like, Christ.
I think the shotgun one was more cringy to me just because he's still like that's the very first blow. He was
Yeah.
completely healthy before it. So he's like screaming in pain from that. And again, his leg's not off. It is like a sliver of
Ugh.
skin and muscle is still attached. So the lower
Ew.
half of his leg is just flopping around.
See, when I got
Gore
to that
warning.
scene though, yeah,
Yeah, gore warning.
Minus 10 points to Brian in this discussion for not saying gore warning.
thank you, moderator.
Yes.
Chef's going to decide who's the winner and has the right opinion at the end.
I already know who is the winner.
yeah.
But so the when I got to that scene, I had kind of mixed opinions on it because at first the opinion they want you to feel is what the fuck, like and like kind of angry, which is what I felt because I was like, wow.
I knew exactly what they were trying to do, and I was just like, all right, I'll see where this goes.
And then
Like, I wasn't mad at all.
No,
I was just
not- I-
like, well,
when I say
okay,
angry-
here's the story then.
when I say angry, I just mean like, cause you, like in a way that the movie, the game movie, is trying to do, where they're like you motivate you the same way Ellie's motivated, if that makes sense. Now the people who saw that and were like, this is garbage. How could you just kill the main character? It's like, are you fucking stupid? That's the point.
The whole point of the story is this person you love is now dead. Fucking get revenge. Yeah, like Ellie's angry too, just like you. Fucking go on.
I
her
don't
journey
get
and-
that. Why people were so upset to the point where they're like,
Yeah, I don't
Now-
get it either.
No, to play devil's advocate here, the first fucking trailer for that game
Yeah.
is completely misleading.
Yeah,
Oh,
it was
yeah,
a red
yeah.
herring. It was a red herring.
See,
And
I
that, I think,
agree
is
with that.
bullshit.
I
It's
actually,
as bad as the Halo 5 trailer shit.
I really hate that trailer because it's not just because the trailer's red herring, but because they made a point of going, the trailers are canon, where the first trailer again is like the last scene, one of the last scenes in the game, and you're expected to know what happens already. Not the first trailer, sorry, the second one, the one with the dance in the barn. But the first trailer,
where they built the entire dance hall for their E3 thing.
but the first trailer literally cannot happen in the game because the first trailer is Ellie playing guitar, and then Joel walks in and he's like, you really want to do this? And she's like, I'm going to find them and I'm going to kill them. But she's talking about wanting to find them and then kill them in the game because they killed Joel. Thus, he would not be there to ask her that unless that's like, what is that, imaginary Joel in her head? Like, I hate
Yeah,
that
it's
trailer
Ghost
so much
Joel.
because I remember that is actually what I thought when I was playing the game. Like right when he dies, I was like, that trailer's fucking stupid now. Like,
Total bullshit. Like,
But
I understand coming from that perspective of, I expected
But I don't
this,
understand
and
the,
now
like,
my favorite character's brains are on the
the
ground.
like the livid hatred of like this entire game is garbage because of it. I'm like, yeah, that's like a
No.
stupid fucking.
Yeah, it might not be the best plot point if depending on your tastes, but like, get over it.
But now and then when they carried, I do like what they did with Joel in the game though. Where like not just that, but
Yeah,
the flashbacks with him are the best parts of the game. Where like,
the scene at the museum, still my favorite part of the game, probably.
see, I had a little issue with that just because I loved the character interactions with it because it's Joel and Ellie after the events of the first game, and he's just showing her in this museum, and it's very cute and very great character moments. But also, there's like no gameplay in it. It is walking and talking, which, as much as I like the story, I will always find that lame in a video game, unless it's like something like The Walking Dead where you are making choices or doing something. But in a game like this where there's active combat, to take a whole section where like you were just gonna walk, I'm like, I don't see why this couldn't be a cutscene, and thus don't see why this couldn't be a TV show. But I love that scene. I just went, but it's a video game. I don't know.
Well, I completely
know.
agree.
Yeah.
Like, 'cause, yeah, it is just what-
You agree with me or him?
You.
Ah.
Because
Nice.
if
How
I
many
were
points
to
do I
ever replay the game, it would just be the encounters. I don't wanna go through all that again.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. And that's what I'm saying.
Because even when you beat the game, they even give. Oh, by the way, it came out with a huge update like yesterday.
Really?
Yeah.
There's like a new mode and stuff.
There's two
Yeah.
new modes and a shit ton of just bonus stuff.
Wait, to go off what you're saying, when you replay a video game,
Mm-hmm.
you can skip story cutscenes. I can't like press a button and go, I'm going to skip this entire
No,
thing that I know.
I
already
brought
know
it up
happened.
because you can.
Oh, you can now?
There's a chapter. No, when the base game before the update, when you beat the game, there is a chapter select,
Yeah.
but there's also an encounter select. So you can just skip ahead to the encounters and actually just play through them. And you can also play through earlier encounters with the stuff you got.
Okay. See, because what I was going to go off of that, because you, Ryan, you always say that your favorite part was this museum bit. And I was going to say, my favorite part of the game, besides something later that I'll mention, is the second one where Tommy teaches her how to snipe, and then her and Joel have that awkward conversation, and they go to the, like that log cabin or whatever, or that hotel, because there's combat in it. That's fun. You get to do combat with Joel. It's the first bloater in the game. The bloaters are fucking sick in this game. Like, they're more intimidating. I think it's something about their animations. Like, they look less stiff. Like, they charge at you and shit. They're scary, and they look bigger, I think. And something about it, I really just thought the bloaters were so cool in this game. I mean, I don't know. And that there's a whole boss fight where you and Joel are fighting a bloater. I thought that was sick. I was like, that was like my favorite Joel moment in the game. And then, the stuff they do with him at the end when they talk about, they have the flashbacks and they're showing the repercussions of his actions. The first game, I was like, oh, that's all very well done.
Mm-hmm.
What did you guys think about Abby's campaign?
I didn't think it was. I don't know. I really like her and Lev, but before that, I was like, okay. And then after, I was like, Lev stuff was cool. the island was pretty neat. Seeing the Seraphite stuff was cool.
She's on the hunt for coins.
Yes,
oh
for
my god, I
coins.
said this before. Because the first game you collect comic books for Ellie, and in this game, because Ellie is a huge nerd, she collects trading cards when you find them. And the second I started controlling Abby, I said out loud, "Okay, what kind of stupid fucking bullshit does Abby collect instead?" And when she picks up that coin, I said, "Fuck off! Are you fucking kidding?" Like, I was laughing so hard, just like coins. She collects coins. But I'm sorry.
It's like so much more boring than Ellie's trading cards.
I loved it because I thought it was stupid.
We were joking about the entire time, like afterwards. We're like,
She's on the hunt.
yeah, that's why
That's
she.
why-
That's really why she killed Joel.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
Her-
that scene at the end of her campaign where they flash back and show that she takes a little coin out of his back pocket after killing him. That was pretty interesting.
She's like,
I
oh,
thought-
nice.
Yeah,
Hawaii.
yeah.
The hardest
Don't
one.
see a lot of them. Yeah, Ellie as a character, I did never.
Abby or Ellie?
Did I say which one did I say?
You said Ellie.
Ellie.
I meant to say Abby.
Okay.
She grew a little bit on me, but never enough for me to care that
See,
much.
I went in not
But
knowing.
I liked her stuff with Lev, and I was like, okay, cool.
I went in not knowing her backstory, and knowing it now, where she is the daughter of the guy that Joel kills at the end of the first game. I went, oh, I really like this character now because I like her motivation is completely justified.
Oh yeah,
There, I thought that was a good way of showing this idea, this theme that I don't necessarily like the theme as a whole of like the revenge cycle
the
and
cycle of revenge,
and
breaking new ground with Neil Druckmann's cycle of revenge.
Can they
What
hear
you
you
mean?
if you talk out of the mic like
oh
that?
yeah, can you hear me, Brian? Or was I like?
Your levels are fine, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Don't you mean Dr. Uckman?
Oh yeah, Dr. Uckman with his massive 100 IQ brain.
Oh my, 100. That's not that much.
No, on the cards it has like the stats, and his
I was-
brain is at 100%.
But oh my god.
Perfectly average. 100 IQ.
I was gonna say, I'm like, what? That's- so yeah, I liked what they did with her, and I would even, if I could play devil's avocado like you did,
Minus 5 points.
I liked her dynamic with the side characters more than Ellie's, and it is because Ellie, okay, she has the same issue. Well, what could be the same issue, where you introduce them and the characters all know each other already, and they don't have to like develop them because they're already developed. But all of Ellie's flashback scenes are her with Joel, a character that's already been developed, and thus it does not add anything to her relationship with Dina or Jesse. All of Abby's flashbacks are with her and Owen, thus developing their characters. And I like this relationship more than Ellie and Dina's because they showed more of it, and I I think Owen's a shitty guy, but
Also, it's
Yeah, Owen's a
their
piece of
relationship's
shit.
also more complicated than Ellie and Dina's. I think the
Yes.
game was way too confident in how people would like Dina. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's a very simple. The only complicated thing is we find out Dina's pregnant, which
Which is-
does complicate the
She's
story.
I also think that's a
Pregnant.
really cheap and dumb
Preggers.
way to add like tension. Like out of nowhere, she's like, I'm pregnant. Not out of nowhere. They like hint at it a little, like in the notes, and
Yeah,
she
she's like,
throws
"Oh, I
up in
feel
that one
sick."
scene.
Yeah.
But I was kinda-
Pregante.
When she said that, when she said that, I knew in my head the reaction was supposed to be, oh my god, but my reaction was, what? What?
See, I didn't.
I knew about it beforehand, and my reaction was like, "Oh, here's this now."
I didn't think it was a bad addition just because now you have this moral dilemma for Ellie. Like, every other character is just like, we need to go back. She can't be here.
Well, here's the thing.
And even
Well,
Ellie agrees.
Yeah, Ellie says
and-
that.
Yeah, even Ellie agrees, but like Ellie, you can just tell that Ellie, like, because she's so close to Abby, she's just like, but maybe we can just keep. Okay, the SD card filled up, so I had to delete some of the contents, but we're back. All right, you were saying,
Okay.
Parker.
So, what was it? My devil's avocado thing.
Yes.
yeah. So
Minus another 5 points.
I liked Owen and Abby's character development more than Ellie and Dina's, because Ellie and Dina didn't really have any until the very end, which I liked that. What I didn't like about Dina's character and the whole pregnant thing is how it functions in the game, where in the first game, things would happen that would separate Ellie and Joel. Like, she is with you for most of the game, and then something would happen where you are by yourself as Joel. And every time it's like, oh, something fell in between you, or Joel falls down the elevator in that one point.
Naughty Dog loves making people fall.
But yeah. But what it is something, an accident will occur that causes Joel and Ellie to be by himself. And those moments are very good because they create tension, because you know that Ellie is a 14-year-old girl. Ellie's a 14-year-old girl by herself. Not for she's defenseless until you give her the gun halfway through the game. And even then she's like doesn't have a ton of defense. And thus you are trying to get the fuck back to where Ellie is, right? And those moments are good because of that. And there's that other good moment where the reason you give her the gun is because when you're trying to get back, you get attacked and she finds you and rescues you. And it's like a cool moment of like, oh, she proved that she can hold her own a little bit, right? In this game, the pregnancy thing is what is a big, pretty much the biggest reason, right? Almost the only reason I think on why Ellie is ever by herself, because Dina has to stay in the theater, or Jesse has to go back and check on Dina, whatever, right? Or those moments don't have any tension at all because they're all adults who can take care of themselves. Dina is perfectly protected in that theater. Like, I mean, okay, Abby did break in eventually, but that was like, no zombies were gonna get in there, you know?
Yeah.
And so at no point where I was
It's
like,
not like
oh,
Dina didn't have a gun. She's pregnant.
and I was like, it's not like she's. There's no point
She's
where
not that far
I was gonna
along.
be like, oh my god, Dina's by herself. I'm like, yeah, she's gonna be fine. And then Jesse goes back to like check up on her. So I'm like, well, now they're both definitely fine. So now the parts where I'm playing as Ellie by herself are kind of fucking boring, because even when she was having like not super interesting conversations with Dina, they were still talking.
Yeah.
When Ellie's like by herself for long stretches, I was kind of like, wow, no one is talking and nothing is happening.
Isn't there a character in Abby's story who's like big preggers who's still
Yeah,
going
Mel.
out and doing things?
Yeah.
Yeah, she is. She's like
Mel.
climbing over stuff. And
To
like,
be
jumping
honest,
around.
I fucking hate it. I can't believe they make her go out and do shit.
I thought
So
They
I
don't.
thought-
No, they
so
specifically don't. They
bizarre.
keep telling her like, no, you should stop. And Mel is like, no, I want to keep going. That was like part of her character.
And it's so bizarre. It's like, you fucking idiot. Just stay home and be pregnant. What is wrong
Yeah.
with you?
Like,
Cool your jets.
I mean, her character only serves as a purpose to be a parallel to Dina,
And then
so
get
that
shot.
when she dies, Ellie can feel bad about it and think about Dina, and then can beg Abby to go, please don't kill her, she's pregnant. But
It's drama.
yeah, so that's like the whole pregnancy thing. Like, it all connected like that in my brain, and I was like, this is dumb.
Pregnancy.
Pregnancy. Am I pregnant?
Pregante.
So yeah, but you guys, I think we all agreed that we liked Lev a lot.
Yeah,
Lev
yeah.
and Abby together.
Best character in the
Easily
game.
the best new character in the game.
Him and I liked his sister too.
She was fine, I guess.
Yeah, it's just that
She's not in it much.
She's not in it much, yeah. But like the whole brother sister thing and how like when Lev talks about her, it's still interesting. It just their whole backstory of like they were with the scars or what seraphites.
Seraphites. Use a politically correct term, Brian. They don't like to be called that.
The scientific term is violent Amish,
Yes.
as I called them most of the game.
Vomish.
Yeah.
But
That's not Latin.
I was gonna say with them, I just thinking about the sister though. I another issue I think I have with this game is that they kind of went crazy with killing characters or making you think they're dead. Like Jesse just gets shot in the fucking face.
It's
And
like
it's kind of unsatisfying. And then something similar happens to the girl. She at least though gets a moment where you think she's dead, and then she kills What's
Yeah,
his
that
name?
nothing character Isaac,
Yeah,
who
yeah.
has a stupid plan and then gets
He
shot.
has a plan that should result in something very similar to the Mongols
Yeah.
going to Japan. He should be wiped out by the fucking storm.
Like, you swim in it as Ellie for a bit. And it's like, why are you sending these like sailboats to this island? Like,
Oh yeah, I
this?
forgot there is an actual storm going on
Yeah.
too.
Yes. That's why they're attacking.
That's
He's
why
like,
it's so stupid.
the cover of the storm will protect us.
Yeah. Fucking idiot.
Oh,
Yeah.
that is a good parallel. I but at least it gave the sister character a moment to be like, I may die, but I still got to do a cool thing. And Jesse doesn't get anything like that. Jesse just gets shot in the fucking face, and he gets
Ellie needs to be more sad.
Tommy also gets shot in the face but survives.
yeah. Which
Oh yeah.
Was he
I
shot
think
in
I
the
like
face?
looked away for a second.
well, that's why his like eye is messed up
Yeah.
when he comes back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Now,
see,
to be
I was
fair-
like I remembered his eye being fucked up, and then like
Didn't
going,
he have a
oh.
limp?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, he was also just like beat the fuck up and stuff. Here's the thing:
actually kicks him in the leg. I think.
when Tommy came back, though, even if it was kind of like, "How are you alive?" I was like, "You think she's that strong that she can just shatter his leg?"
She's so strong that she shattered his leg so much that months later he still has a limp.
Yeah.
It's like years later. That baby was not a newborn anymore. It was talking.
What are
Did
you-
it talk?
Yeah.
Brian, did the baby talk?
Wait. I
At
thought
the
the
very
baby.
end.
The
Yeah.
baby did not.
I thought it said a
talk.
word. Wait, was Ellie speaking for the baby, and did she trick me? I thought.
Parker.
No, it
the
was like a
baby was
single
like a
word.
teeny baby.
Yeah, but I thought it's.
It wasn't a newborn, but it also wasn't like
It wasn't gonna
Two?
talk.
it
No,
was
not
like,
talking like
one at
full
most.
sentences. I thought it said a word. Like I thought Ellie was like, "Say this," and then it said it. I don't know, but maybe I was just tired because I
think
beat
you
this
were
game
just
later.
tired.
Well, move on.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Who cares?
Point is, I was kind of glad that Tommy did come back because I was like, oh, finally somebody who survives and gets to do more. Because like it's not just that they killed all the characters I liked. It's like Joel's death felt earned, Jesse's did not. This sister, I can't even remember her name. Lev's sister's name was
Yara.
Yara. Yara.
Good thing you remembered, because I fucking didn't.
Yara's didn't feel earned, I don't think, but then kind of felt like okay when she did that thing.
I kind of wish Tommy this is the part of the game that I watched. I watched the very end. So I kind of wish Tommy had stayed dead because he comes back and is just like wrong.
Yeah.
He comes back and is
He
like,
just
"Hey,
comes-
Ellie. Abby's still out there. Come on, let's go do it." And Ellie, who is now living a fucking fine life
With major PTSD.
with major PTSD, like you don't go up to a
Like,
fucking
crippling.
you don't go up to someone who like I don't know who like faced Osama bin Laden and then go, yeah, let's go kill Osama bin Laden after they're like living their fine life.
It's
That you wouldn't do that to someone. Tommy
Like-
did something that's wrong.
like, yeah,
Th-
Tommy
here's
just
the thing.
becomes a total asshole, and it's like, okay.
Yeah, I don't mind Tommy being wrong necessarily. I thought it was pretty out of character.
Yeah,
Um,
that's the problem. It's like,
But then I kind of want to lead into how we felt about those last couple hours because I think that
those fucking sucked. I fucking hated
See,
having to
I
go back
knew before this podcast was recorded that Ryan was going to be the most vocal about the last couple of hours.
because I was like, this game should be over now.
they were bad. I think
They were bad, yeah. I did not like them.
here's what I think. The game when you get to the barn, a bunch of characters die. Abby and Lev survive. Ellie and Dina survive. And they go their separate ways and they're like, don't ever let me ever see you again. They like spare each other. Well, no, Abby spares
Abby
Ellie.
Spears, Ellie, yeah.
They have their thing, and Ellie and Dina are living with the baby. They have their own house outside of. They're not in Jackson anymore, and they are living as happy of life as they can. And I say that because again, Ellie has a horrible. They show Ellie has horrible PTSD. Shut up.
LT.
They show that Ellie has horrible PTSD, and that she just kind of has to live with that. And then Tommy comes in and is like horribly spiteful, whatever. And honestly, though, I think that would have hit their message right on the like hit the nail right on the head and been like, yes, showing that if you break the cycle of revenge, you can live like a happier life. But you're still gonna have to live with that trauma. And then I thought, even if it was out of character for him, I thought Tommy was a good example of this is what happens if you can't let go. Or can't even attempt to let go.
Yeah.
You become this spiteful asshole. And I was like, that is a perfectly good message. Then the game goes on for 3 more hours, and I was like, what is happening? She leaves and gives up her future with Dina. Fucking hated that, because I was like, that's dumb. It doesn't add anything. Like, we already... it wasn't
the game gets to the point
happily
where you're
ever...
like, I get it, and then it goes, no. Do you get it?
The game is like, because it was like, you don't get a happily ever after with this scenario. And it's like, but she wasn't having one.
No.
She had PTSD. And yet, they like wanted to take everything from her. They wanted to make her... Having Tommy act that way got rid of any need they would for her to do that. Because they already showed you this is what happens when you keep going with this revenge path. So the fact that they have Ellie keep going with it anyway is like, you already covered that. You already showed people this is what happens and you don't want that. So the fact that they go, no, but here's what happens and you don't want that. Look how sad Ellie is. She can't play guitar if she's missing 2 fingers.
Got
Is
her
like,
fingers bit off.
it's like, okay.
Aren't you sad now? Is our game sad enough yet?
Oh my god, Abby did Gollum.
God.
And then it also doesn't help that, again, the last section you are playing as solo Ellie, which is boring because she is not talking to anyone.
Okay.
It does suck that I thought the thing she was infiltrating was kind of interesting. I was like, man, something like this could have been cool way earlier.
That's why, like, when I finished it, I was like, it feels like at some point they were like, oh yeah, we might do a part 3. And
Or
that
like
was
an Abby
the-
DLC campaign
or like
or something.
yeah, something like that. And then they were like, no, let's get it the fuck in there.
And that's what
And it's
it
like-
probably would have been better if fleshed out as a separate thing.
Yeah.
I would have, okay, this would have not gone over well with how people reacted to this game, but I would have played a small, like, Abby-focused thing after the events. Because I wish the game ended when they had the barn stuff that I liked before Ellie leaves, and then I wish it would have gone straight to that cutscene at the end with her and Joel. And then I wish it would have hit credits. And then I wish they would have cut off all that other stuff and maybe done some stuff with Abby and Lev in a spin-off, sequel, something like that. Apparently people really don't like Abby, so that would not have gone over well. But whatever. I've been talking too long. So Brian, you have... What do you think about these last 3 hours?
Oh, wait, did you have more to say? Because you were...
Oh, I figured Ryan was mostly just agreeing with me.
Well, yeah, I do agree with you on a bunch of stuff, but I will say though that I thought it was really funny when that guy punched that kid.
What? What are you talking about? I
The
don't...
fucking big dude, like, it was another one of the memes that people were making edits of when they like get out of that garage
Oh, when he
and the
like,
guy fucking comes up
like-
and just decks Lev.
he like shoulder checks him into the... He like shoulder checks him and Lev's like head hits the garage door or some shit like that.
Yeah,
Like it was violent.
yeah. But no, but seriously, that last bit adds some cool gameplay stuff with the dudes with helmets, where it's like, oh, I can't just headshot these dudes and run now.
See, I thought that was dumb.
Really?
Well, okay. It's not that I thought it was dumb, is that I was like, I want to be done with this game, so I wanted to headshot them and run.
Oh yeah, no, I agree there. It's just if it were
Oh, well,
another
you had a
part of the game-
silent submachine gun. Like, that was like the easiest way to dispatch all of them.
I didn't have enough ammo to get rid of all of them.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Still, my point is, it would have been cool if it was somewhere else.
They
in the
also
game.
did something which there was a little bit of earlier in the game. I wish there was more of it because it's really
Yes.
cool.
I know what you're
Where you
saying.
could take the human enemies and the zombies and pit them against each other. There was a really cool moment in the earlier game with Dina and Ellie exploring the subway where the wolves are going after them, but there's clickers in the subway. And I was like, I just throw a brick in the middle of them, and the clickers and the wolves fucking kill each other, and then I just pick off the clickers at the end.
Mhm.
And I was like, that was sick.
Yeah, those gameplay moments were
And
really,
there was
really
like
cool.
one or two other things like that. I think there was more of it. I feel like it was more than just that one moment in the end, but I can't think of any others.
Yeah, because the bit at the end, I didn't even notice the bit at the end because
See, at the end I saw it and I was like, oh, I'm gonna release the chain. But even then,
yeah,
the issue there was at the beginning, or the one in the subway. You were in fog and you were very hidden, and you could just throw the brick and they'd freak out. And once they kill all the wolves, it's like, then they're fine. These, you like let them go and they start running all over the place, so they're more likely to find you, which is at least what was my experience. But
see, there's only one I noticed, and it was after the fact because I threw a Molotov into a group of guys that were standing around it, and it also burned to death. And I was like, wait, what?
there was like 3 of them, or I think
I just didn't even know.
there was one by itself, and then I remember there was another pit that had one and a clicker.
I remember that. Clicker just
Clicker freaked Chef out over here,
yeah.
shivering.
I will say in the final encounter, which was fine, until my game crashed.
Oh, your
during the
game crashed.
Listen, the game
was
crashed,
so
but also when you
fucking-
came back in, it was the exact same spot. Like you
Oh
didn't
yeah,
lose hours of
it wasn't a
gameplay.
big deal.
That was so funny.
It was fucking hilarious. It was like, oh
Wait,
my
what
god.
happened? Like, tell me what. Like,
Oh, it was literally just I was doing the last like knife to fist fight against Abby.
oh, like the
Like the
Yes,
final
the
boss
final
fight, I remember.
boss thing, and I like went to hit her and it just crashed, and then I had to reload it, and I was like, oh, because all of us were like, at that point, because
Ryan streamed it to like
yeah,
no 4
It was, like,
other
4 of
people,
us, yeah.
including me and Chef.
so like my experience with this is playing from where did I start?
3 of those people didn't play the game, and they were just waiting for Ryan to be done so they could play a different game.
Yeah,
including Chef, or no?
yeah.
Yeah.
Where did I start that stream at? I'm trying to remember. Like, when did I start streaming? It was like the island,
was-
right? It was like the end of Abby's campaign, I think.
Was that the day with the hospital?
Yeah.
Because I remember there being a cool boss.
Yeah.
It was just the big clump of flesh that like
Oh,
made
yeah.
it made a baby.
Oh, it's one of the coolest
Yeah, there's
parts.
this
Yeah,
really cool
wait.
boss fight we didn't mention.
That's my
in the
favorite
hospital.
part of the game, actually, because
Yeah.
one, it was something straight the fuck out of Resident Evil, like
Oh, it's
Resident
just a
Evil
Resident Evil
2 or
2
3
boss, yeah.
remake, like the new ones.
Yeah.
It was definitely just like
Okay, I don't. It just reminded me of body horror movies. So
No, like-
I don't
No.
play enough
Not-
Resident
no,
Evil
Brian,
to know
not
what
like-
the influence is.
like the gameplay, not the
Yeah.
Oh, the gameplay.
yeah, like it
Yes.
felt like playing against a Resi boss, not
Okay.
not the way it looks necessarily, though.
All right, I
No,
never
it
played.
does definitely look like something from the end of 2. Like it looked like Birkin shit. From
Yeah.
2.
Yeah. Honestly.
But
It's kind of Shin Godzilla tail-esque. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I didn't even notice that.
With the like
But
bodies coming
that
out.
fight was sick. The second I like saw it, I was like, "That's so cool." I also
That was one of the things I wasn't completely spoiled on. I had just heard about a big thing in the basement of some building that was a big fight, and that's all I knew. So I was like, "When's that gonna happen?" Every basement I went in the game, I was like, "Is it here? Am I getting this?"
I had a little funny moment where, because you know what comes out of that like horrible thing on the wall that kind of looks like a
Yes.
big coochie.
Yes, because I looked at him and went,
Well, I apparently there was like a trail of blood coming out of it or whatever. I didn't see that, so I'm just like staring at this thing and going like, I'm supposed to crawl into this, yes?
"Oh, I did the
And
same
then,
thing.
like,
I walked up
tried
to him
to.
and like hit X, and I was like, oh."
But no, I like kept trying because I didn't see anything else. I was like, what is this thing that just appeared? And then I threw a Molotov into it
Oh.
to see if there was something hiding in there to see if I could get it. And then I was like, I guess this isn't it. Then I turned around, and like the second I turned around, you like saw like they like showed like something crushed or whatever, and Abby like said something. I went, oh, okay, because I thought it was. My thought wasn't this is something that wasn't here before, because that's what you're supposed to think. My thought was, oh, I missed this. How do I get in here? Like I just walked past this, is what I assumed. Because it's in.
Oh, yeah. See, I assumed it was there the whole time, and I just didn't see it.
Yeah, that's what I did. But I think
Yeah.
what you're supposed to assume is that it like opened up while you were in
Oh,
the other
that
room or
did
something.
not hit for me at all. Also, another thing I just forgot to mention, another glitch I got multiple times in the game. Going up to like interactable like crevices that you can go through. You know, ones where you have to walk up and hit X, and then she like shimmies through.
Yeah.
Just not working.
Oh.
And completely blocking progress. Twice in particular, I had to reload the encounter or whatever checkpoint, and redo a little walking bit to get back to a crevice that I couldn't fucking get through because it didn't let me through. I'm gonna bring that up because that was really frustrating. Because the first one in particular pissed me off because I was like, did I literally lock myself out of the rest of the game here? I thought I was going crazy because I could not get through this little crevice.
No, you and I have been complaining a bit for a while. I do really want to know what Brian thinks the last couple hours of this game.
Yeah,
That was fine.
Really?
I didn't hate it at all.
I just was like, why is
The thing
it
is,
still going?
I paced myself really well for the game. Whenever I was either bored or if it was late at night, I just stopped playing. So I just didn't care about how long it was going. I just played whenever. So I had a very like chill experience overall playing Last of Us Part 2. The only thing was the beginning part. I was like, please tell me there's gonna be something like combat oriented or something like that soon. But then once it happened, then the rest of the game was like smooth sailing, even the ending part.
I don't know. I was just
my
like,
problem is more narrative wise, where I'm like, this game should be done.
yeah, it's
Why
not
are
like
you
I was.
bloating it with an extra like 3 hours of like?
I didn't hate
filler?
it.
I don't know.
I
It's
mean,
not like I
yeah.
was marathoning it. I was just kind of like
I mean, I kind of marathon the last bit.
the game. Yeah, maybe I don't know.
You were definitely marathoning last part because
Yeah.
everybody
be
wanted
done.
you to play this other game, and you're like, no, I'm beating this
We
first.
were like, oh, if I beat this,
and
we'll play
literally
Deep Rock.
everybody was yelling at Ryan like, fuck
then
this
we didn't.
game. Why
Yeah.
isn't this over yet? So I'm pretty sure there was a small bit of just everyone wanting to rather play another game.
Well, I
Then
mean, I was
watch
at
you
the,
play The
the
Last
front of
of Us
that
2.
rally of I want to be done with this so I can play Ghost of Tsushima.
Why didn't you just turn the game off and play the other game?
Because I wanted to beat it then. I'm like,
Alright.
no, I'm finishing this game tonight.
Yeah, that I do think
so I
that's
can
a
play
real
Ghost
thing.
of Tsushima.
If the game feels like it's ending, I think it should be ending because you're gonna go, I will beat this tonight. And then when it keeps going, you're like, how fucking much is left of this game?
Yeah.
And that's why I was like, the barn felt like the ending. So the fact that it went on for 3 more hours, I was like, oh my god. And even then, like,
it's like I was
See, I
watching
feel
him.
like
It's
the
like I was
barn
watching him.
didn't feel like an ending because the barn kept going. Because you were in the house doing shit, but then they're like, oh, go outside. And they're like, oh, and now do the sheep. And then you saw that vision with Joel. And you go back in, and then they sleep. And it's the next day, and then Tommy's there. So then I was like, so there's going to be a whole...
when
this is
the
next
vision
part of
with
the
Joel
game.
happened, I was like, oh, this is like, we're getting close to the ending. Then when the barn kept going, I
Yeah.
was like, I keep saying it should stop at the barn. I don't mean all of the barn stuff. I mean like during the barn sequence was a good spot to go. Here's the end.
Yeah, no, see, like, my thing was, when the barn stuff was happening, I was like, oh, this is going to keep going. My problem was that, I'm like, no, don't, though.
Yeah.
No, this is fine. You don't need to go any further. Like, I don't... Your point has been made. Hell, the point was made about halfway through the story where they have my least favorite scene in the entire game, where it's Jesse and Ellie talking in a room, and Jesse goes, hey, Ellie, did you know that if you just stopped all this fighting and getting back at them for what they did to Joel, everything would be fine and happy dandy? And it's like, golly gee, thanks, Neil. I wouldn't have gotten the point of your story if you hadn't spelled it out for me.
See, that
Having
part
Jesse
didn't really bother
fucking-
me just
I
because I was
hated it.
like,
I was literally like, oh, I was like so irritated when that cutscene was going on because I'm like, fuck off. I get it. Just be a little subtle, please.
I don't know, that one
Oh,
didn't that
oh.
one didn't bug me.
It didn't
When he
bug
said
me
that-
either.
Because when he said that, I just went, yeah, he's right.
I don't like how upfront it was about the game's themes and message in this particular scene. I thought it was really really cheesy and really like, this doesn't feel like a natural conversation. And it's also like, obviously he's right. Yeah,
I'm not even like,
I don't care that he's right. I care that it's like, don't even include that scene because it's just dumb.
I'm not
Like,
even necessarily disagreeing with you. It just didn't bother me. I was like, yeah.
I don't know.
Okay,
It was
next.
it was of all the things in the game, it was the only thing in the game to make me go, oh, fuck off. Like, as I was playing it, where I was like, whatever, and I rolled my eyes, and then I got past it because that was literally that was the same day I was like, oh, I'm liking this game. Because at the end of the day, I like the game.
Yeah,
It's a good game.
I think it's a good game.
It's a good game with the, in my
Ton of
opinion,
issues.
really not great ending and stumbles at the beginning, and I don't like some of the characters, but it just means it's like a 7, 8 out of 10 game, which is fine. It's just not masterpiece of the generation.
I think 8's a little generous.
Masterpiece.
Yeah.
Oh, I give it an 8.
I think
I give
it's
the first one an 8.
just as good, if not better, than any of the Uncharted I've played. So that's my take on it.
Oh, I still think Uncharted 4 is the best Naughty Dog game.
I know I haven't played
I
that one,
like-
that's why I said that.
I like.
Although I haven't played any of the Jack and Daxter games, and at this point, none of the people that worked on Crash Bandicoot's there. So
I played. I would say that I like Uncharted. All of them but one, except more than The Last of Us Part 2.
No.
And I would
The
rather
big thing with
play.
me is gameplay because I like how Last of Us plays way more.
I
than
would
like
rather
Uncharted.
play any of them, including one, again over Last of Us Part 2. But that's just a matter of length. Because Last of Us Part 2, at the end of the day, this is an issue. As much as I'm like, oh, it is a good game, I think this is legitimately a reason to say don't play this. And that is, it's too long.
It was
and,
too
like-
long. It's about 7-8 hours too long.
Here's the
in my
thing.
opinion.
When a movie is too long, but still pretty good, I'd be like, yeah, no, it's worth watching. Even if it's like, listen, a 3-hour movie that should have been 2.5. If it's got enough good stuff, it's like still worth watching. You just might get like,
Yeah.
in the middle. But at the most, you wasted like, what, 30 minutes?
You
When
know,
you're wasting 5 to 10 hours, that's too much. And I understand if somebody's like, no, I don't want to play this game. I would say this game wastes 5 at most. But that's still a lot of time. That's like 2 to 3 movies.
it's like fucking what's the studio that makes God of War? Sony Santa Monica.
Corey
Yeah.
Ball, what?
It's Santa Monica.
You were
One
gonna say his
man.
name.
But
You said who's this dude?
I
thought
said
you
said
studio.
studio.
Sorry, I just
Okay.
remembered. I'm
Yeah,
tired.
yeah,
I'm
it's,
tired as fuck. We gotta wrap this up.
Yeah,
soon.
I'm
I'm gonna
hungry.
fall asleep. But I was gonna say it's like, you know, what game is longer than this one and doesn't feel as long? Fucking God of War 2018. You know why? Because the whole
Pacing's
time,
amazing.
yeah, because stuff's happening. I think the gameplay's a little better, but whatever.
Yes.
That's not.
Ooh, the gameplay is a lot better.
Oh yeah, but like your Atreus is a cool companion. He's interesting,
Well, yeah, that's the
and
thing.
you're
is,
always
like,
meeting new characters the entire time. And like,
It also
what's his
benefits
face? What's the
from-
head guy? Huh?
It also benefits for being like somewhat like fantasy esque. So there's just more creative shit going on like
Yeah.
the whole game.
I would say
Well, Last of Us has to be grounded.
a
in
big thing
reality.
that
Yeah.
the first Last of Us and God of War have that The Last of
Zombies
Us
are
2
real.
just doesn't have is that there is no like through line. Like the first game, Joel and Ellie are together for pretty much the entire game, and the parts where they're apart are still like, oh fuck, they're apart. Like you gotta get them back together. Blah blah blah. Same thing with like God of War. It's like him and Atreus, and like other side characters come in, and they complement them really well. Where in this game, even if you weren't like not, you know, obviously you play as part of it as Ellie and part as Abby. Even if you like separated those, there is nobody who stays with Ellie the entire time, and there's nobody who stays with Abby the entire time because Lev comes in like halfway through.
Yeah.
So like, no one has. It's so weird that this game is so long, and yet no one has enough time to develop with the main characters.
Yeah,
And it's weirdly because I think it's a game that is it's too long, but at the same time doesn't give a lot of characters enough time. And
also I think like a big thing is that our main characters in Last of Us 2 don't really change all that much from the beginning and end of the game.
they could have if they stayed at the barn.
Yeah, like Kratos in God of War 2018. I keep bringing it up, but like, I wouldn't say he necessarily like he changes compared to his past games. I think,
Yeah.
which is the big thing. And you know,
I'll
now that I say that Ellie
there's
does,
there's character development from the beginning
Definitely.
to the end of the 2019 God of War.
Yeah.
So it's not
Ellie
just-
changes from the past game, but in a negative way.
yeah, like that's why I don't know. And Kratos works well because he's changed and like it puts different perspective on things. And then he's also talking to Atreus the whole time, and Atreus is like doing stuff, and also Ymir is talking and being the talker and providing context to things and like being a voice as opposed to just Ellie on her fucking own. And, like,
I think that so like
I'm rambling because I'm tired.
a lot of the we gotta wrap this up in a second.
Here,
I think
I'll get the final word in once you're done.
okay. I think that a big issue is that the the characters, the character development time in Last of Us 2 is sacrificed for instead trying to show as much they can of this idea of showing both sides of the story and showing that Abby's not evil because like what Joel did was evil and like showing this, right? Thing is though, I think that could have been achieved just as well as if you played as Ellie the whole time and then at the end Abby went, Joel killed my dad. And I think that it would have had the same effect and I would have been, oh shit. Or if she was told the story and they showed that cutscene, I would have been like, oh wow. And it would have gotten that idea across the same way just as well and it would have been good. I think they tried to go deeper into a theme that's not very deep and thus sacrifice other things for it.
All right. Well, kids, we learned a lot about ourselves today. We learned that revenge is bad. We learned that...
You can't play guitar if you don't got 2 fingers?
Yep, we learned that Neil Druckmann writes a fair story.
With 100 IQ.
Yeah, 100 IQ. And I rate this game at... I'm glad I didn't buy it out of Play Yakuza 0 instead.
It's a good assessment.
Have a nice day. Shalom. Rest in peace.
Joel?
Sayonara.
Rest in peace, Joel.
Rest in your brain in pieces.
Brian, cut the fucking thing.